Chapter 1724. I can't believe that the dragon phoenix divine hoop of those reptiles of the Soul Clan has reappeared. Do you think you can run away? Oslo's voice arose faintly. Many arrows were aimed at Ling Xiao. Even if Ling Xiao was fast, he couldn't be faster than the eternal god's power. Ling Xiao didn't think much. He immediately opened his chaos world to create the strongest defense. Boom. The chaos world was almost smashed. Ling Xiao was blown away for a long distance. He was hurt badly. Ha! You've already condensed the power of space? That's even more of a problem. Oslo was surprised. And then he attacked Ling Xiao again. This time, his power was stronger. He had to kill Ling Xiao in one strike. Ling Wudi roared. He was like an ancient giant, pouring all of his energy into the dragon seal and pounding on Oslo. This dragon seal was like a falling star with endless energy. It was enough to crush many incipient God Realm experts. It was Ling Wudi's formidable power, which was close to the eternal God Realm. If you want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. Oslo snorted. He swung his light scepter, and a dazzling light swept over. The light column was like a column with heaven-defying power. It hit the tough dragon seal and turned it into powder. Ling Wudi's hands were smashed into meat paste. The light column continued to pierce through his body. At the critical moment, he broke the jade tube that Ling Taichu had given him. He had used Ling Taichu's soul consciousness clone to block this fatal attack. Ling Wudi was blown away for tens of thousands of miles. It was impossible for him to recover immediately. Luckily, Oslo's target was Ling Xiao. He thought that Ling Wudi would die for sure. Thus, he didn't pay much attention to him. That was why he was lucky enough to escape this calamity. I didn't expect that you Kim people would have such extraordinary characters. Today, I must kill all of you. Otherwise, 10,000 years later, it will be a catastrophe for us gods, said Oslo with a thick murderous aura. Boundless light power flickered, and balls of sacred light shrouded Ling Xiao. These lights seemed pure and flawless, but they contained boundless killing intent. Even if Ling Xiao's speed was unparalleled, it would still be difficult for him to break free from the shroud of this world of light. Rays of light turned into arrows and shot towards Ling Xiao. As Ling Xiao supported the primal chaos world, he summoned his two heavenly jewels. His hands transformed into a Taiji circular millstone, forming an infinite defense. However, these arrows were too dense. His chaos world could not withstand them, and was pierced through by 10,000 arrows. In an instant, they arrived in front of his Taiji millstone. Ding dang ding dang. The Taiji millstone formed the strongest combination of yin and yang power, dispersing most of the arrows and producing a crisp sound of crisscrossing. Alas, there was a limit to Ling Xiao's strength, and the Taiji grindstone was also unable to withstand it. The two heavenly jewels were sent flying, and many arrows pierced through his body. His physical body was comparable to a pinnacle ancient god artifact, but in the face of this destructive divine light, it was nothing. Thousands of arrows pierced through Ling Xiao's heart. His physical body was completely destroyed, and divine blood splattered everywhere, dyeing the sky red. The dragon phoenix divine hoop on his forehead emitted a dazzling divine light, trying its best to block these arrows, but it was all in vain. The dragon phoenix divine hoop could not withstand it, and began to crack. When the dragon phoenix divine hoop was completely destroyed, it would be the time of Ling Xiao's death. In the face of death, Ling Chen smiled indifferently. The most important people in his life flashed through his mind, and he remembered the happy times he spent with them. He couldn't help but reveal a smile on his face. Mengqi Yini, your farewell. Ling Xiao shouted in his heart. Thing. The dragon phoenix divine hoop that had saved his life many times finally could not withstand it anymore, and began to crack. Just as the arrow was about to blast his head into smithereens, a wisp of baleful gold light flashed a step ahead of it, and completely eliminated the divine light. You're courting death, you dare to kill my clansmen. Ling Taichu arrived in time. He could not help but roar, and countless golden fiend energy bombarded Oslo. At this time, Ling Taichu's condition was not much better. He was forced into a dangerous situation by Jiang Xiawang and Lei Zhanyang. It was not easy for him to be injured, but he still broke out of the encirclement and came to help. While he was attacking Oslo with all his strength, Jiang Xiaowang and Lei Zhanyang had already arrived and surrounded him. You lowly worm! How dare you insult the celestial race? Today, I'll let you ascend to heaven. Oslo was furious. He hated it when people called them birdmen. Oslo waved the scepter of light and blocked all of Ling Taichu's attacks. Then he joined Jiang Xiaowang and Lei Zhanyang to besiege Ling Taichu. Fighting 3 against 1. Ling Taichu was immediately suppressed, and the situation was even more dangerous. Even so, he had already escorted Ling Xiao to a faraway place. Ling Xiao was lucky enough to escape the disaster. Ling Xiao's head wasn't damaged at all, and his fleshly body quickly regenerated. At the same time, the primal chaos world began to emit a strange clanging sound as it absorbed the power of the 3 eternal gods, causing it to gradually grow stronger. After Ling Xiao escaped death, he immediately summoned the 2 divine jewels back into his consciousness. Many divine objects flew out of the cauldron and were absorbed by him in an instant. His body quickly reconstructed. I wonder how old ancestor Wu Di is doing. I hope he's fine. Ling Xiao thought to himself. He looked at the battle between the 4 eternal gods in the distance. The terrifying power almost caused the sky to tremble and overturn. Old ancestor Taichu is fighting 1 against 3. The situation is terrible. Now that things have come to this, what can I do to help? For the first time, Ling Xiao felt helpless. For so many years, he had been pursuing the pinnacle of power, and his strength had increased rapidly. But in the end, he found that there was still a gap that he could not cross, and he could no longer beat back enemies of a higher level like before. He was still too short of time. If he was given 1,000 years, no 100 years, with his talent, he might really be able to reach the eternal realm. At that time, who would be a match for him among those of the same level? If I stay, I will only be a burden to old ancestor Taichu. I can't help him at all. I can only hope that he can break out of the encirclement. Ling Xiao hesitated for a moment, but decided to retreat first. He would not be like those hot-blooded youths who would stay and throw away their lives. After all, he had no means or trump cards to help. Roar. At this time, an earth-shattering tiger roar rang out. The terrifying sound waves shook Ling Xiao's blood and qi, and his internal organs were almost shattered. Black Demon Tiger Emperor. Ling Xiao's entire body was ice-cold. A terrifying black demon tiger emperor, that was as black as 100 mountains, appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Its black fur was glistening, and its needles were like sharp black blades, sending chills down one's spine. Its cold eyes flashed, and its sharp, bloodthirsty fangs exuded a thick killing intent. Ling Xiao retreated without hesitation. He knew that he had no chance of winning against such a terrifying existence. But how could such a terrifying black demon tiger emperor allow him to leave so easily? It opened its mouth wide, and it seemed to turn into a terrifying black hole that could devour millions of miles of space. No matter how fast Ling Xiao was, he could not escape the black demon tiger emperor's encirclement. His entire body was sucked into the black demon tiger emperor's mouth. In this crisis, Ling Xiao threw many heavenly lightning beads into the black demon tiger emperor's mouth. He had obtained these heavenly lightning beads from the Thunder Clan, and he had accumulated them over the years. There were dozens of them, and when stacked together, the terrifying destructive power they could produce was not something that an ordinary person could withstand. However, the Black Demon Tiger King's intelligence had already reached the level of a monster. It was naturally aware of the extraordinary power of these heavenly lightning balls. The Black Demon Tiger King turned its suction force into a force that pushed the heavenly lightning balls and Ling Xiao far away. Ling Xiao took the opportunity to flee again, but the Black Demon Tiger Emperor was faster than him. It appeared in front of him once again, trying to devour him. A mere beast dares to take my life? You're not qualified. Ling Xiao roared angrily, and 2 heavenly jewels were blasted out at the same time. Tai Chi sealing extermination. At the same time, his divine spirit doppelganger sneaked out and flew directly above the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's head. 2 beams of light shot out from his fingers. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor first slapped out 2 heavenly jewels, severely injuring Ling Xiao's physical body. However, it did not expect Ling Xiao's doppelganger to close in, and its 2 bell-sized eyes were struck by Ling Xiao's power that contained heavenly fire. Roar! The Black Demon Tiger Emperor's eyes burned with pain. It roared again and again, waving its front claws and shaking the space around it. Ling Zhao's real body and doppelganger were sent flying. They combined into one again, and fled at full speed. He was not confident that he could kill the Black Demon Tiger Emperor with just heavenly fire alone. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was an existence that had reached the ancient era, and not an ordinary divine origin item could harm it. Ling Zhao fled with all his might. Even he did not know where he was flying to, nor did he know how many tens of millions of miles he had fled, or how many endless spatial turbulence he had traversed. He swore that this was the fastest he had ever fled, and it was also the most embarrassing he had ever fled. However, no matter how fast he ran, the gap between their cultivation levels was too great. There was no way he could shake off the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor had already recovered from its injuries. It leaped up and arrived behind Ling Zhao in a few leaps. A stream of corrosive dark energy rushed toward him. In this shocking explosion, Ling Zhao's divine body exploded once again. The numerous wisps of chaotic qi around his body could not withstand this terrifying attack. I'm really going to die this time. I can't hold on any longer. Ling Zhao despaired. At this time, his divine obsidian cauldron changed from a ring to a divine cauldron. It became incomparably huge in the blink of an eye, and a simple and ancient aura filled the air. Ling Zhao's doppelganger carried the divine cauldron, and charged toward the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. This was a top-grade divine cauldron. If it could not withstand the attack, then he would not be able to survive either. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor's front claws slammed down, and the terrifying force caused the divine cauldron to crack. The divine cauldron was sent flying somewhere, and the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's spiritual soul was also turned to dust by this force. Although Ling Zhao managed to buy himself some time, he still could not escape death in the end. Roar! A terrifying force shot out from the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's mouth, and instantly drowned his fleeing true body. Chapter 1725. During the Eternal War, Ling Taichu's body was covered in blood. He was heavily injured many times, but he managed to resurrect himself with great difficulty. As an Eternal Realm expert, he could not be killed easily. Even a drop of blood essence could injure him severely. He risked his life and slashed at Jiang Xiawang. He was the main culprit behind the war, so he had to be killed. However, his efforts were futile. Under the joint attack of the three, Jiang Xiawang only suffered some injuries and recovered quickly. Ling Taichu, your juniors are already dead. Go down and accompany them. Jiang Xiawang roared ferociously. As he finished speaking, he turned into an unprecedented black hole of demonic clouds. He poured out all his energy, enveloping an area of 1,000,000 miles. He wanted to suck Ling Taichu into it and refine him. Lei Zhanyang was also fighting with all his might. Chaotic heavenly lightning filled his surroundings. Every bolt of lightning was earth-shattering, and they were all aimed at Ling Taichu. This was the reappearance of the chaotic lightning domain. The scepter in Oslo's hand burst forth with boundless power. Holy light shone on all living beings. Every ray of light contained a special ability to seal and control. The three Eternal Realm experts attacked with all their might. The endless space was replaced by their spatial energy. The area of 1,000,000 miles was filled with the flickering light of their attributes. At this incomparably critical moment, a furious roar shook millions of miles. Roar! The terrifying dragon roar dispersed most of the power of the three Eternal Realm experts, greatly reducing their power. An ancient dragon more than 100,000 meters long rushed over from the horizon. It was Ling Taichu's divine beast, the Golden Dragon Emperor. Before Ling Taichu sensed Jiang Xiawang and Lei Zhanyang's arrival, he had already summoned the ancient Dragon Emperor and rushed out of the clan's territory. At their level, it was impossible for the distance between the inner and outer regions to block their senses. The ancient Dragon Emperor rushed over at the fastest speed. Fortunately, he managed to catch up, or else Ling Taichu would be in danger. Jiang Xiawang, you dare to kill a junior of my clan. I, Ling Taichu, will not rest until your Demon Tiger clan is dead. Ling Taichu was completely enraged. He didn't know if it was Ling Wudi or Ling Xiao, but no matter who it was, it made him completely crazy. He activated the Golden Dragon Altar, and sprinkled some blood essence on the golden dragon altar. Countless golden dragons rushed out, each one several times stronger than before. These terrifying golden dragons instantly destroyed Jiang Xiewang's demonic cloud black hole. Several golden dragons devoured Jiang Xiewang's body, causing him to scream and retreat. Just as Lei Zhanyang and Oslo wanted to help, the primordious dragon had already rushed over. Its incomparably terrifying dragon body swept over. Boundless lightning and terrifying light beams were all swept away. When the primordious dragon unleashed all of its power, it was not something that could be withstood by someone of the same level. The Dragon Pearl's 150 times combat power was not its limit. If it really went all out, it would be able to increase its combat power by at least 300 times. However, doing so would greatly damage its body. It held Lei Zhanyang and Oslo back, so that Ling Taichu could kill Jiang Xiewang first. After that, it would defeat them one by one. Jiang Xiewang was also frightened by Ling Taichu's desperation. Ling Taichu had the golden dragon altar, a true eternal divine weapon. It was impossible for Jiang Xiewang to resist. When he realized that no one was coming to help, he quickly summoned his black demon tiger emperor. Kill. Ling Taichu's eyes were red with anger. He punched out, and countless golden dragons, golden spears and golden dragon altar rushed out at the same time. Terrifying energy surged in all directions, and the sky darkened. In another direction, Oslo, who was fighting with the primordious dragon, suddenly gave up and retreated to the radiant space alone. People of the Gold Tribe, you have stolen my tribe's light stone. This matter is settled, Oslo said, and left without looking back. Oslo did not expect Ling Taichu to have cultivated such an ancient dragon. If they could not kill Ling Taichu and the primordious dragon today, it would be a disaster for the Winged Men tribe. Therefore, Oslo had no choice but to retreat. He could only hope that Ling Taichu would not target the Winged Men tribe in the future. Once Oslo retreated, Lei Zhanyang lost the will to fight. With his strength, he had almost no chance of winning against the primordious dragon. Xiewang, let's retreat first. Lei Zhanyang shouted in shock. He gathered all the chaotic lightning and fled into the distance. On the other side, Jiang Xiewang also had the intention to retreat. However, Ling Taichu's attacks were too crazy, and he could not escape. Fortunately, his black demon tiger emperor rushed over, giving him a chance to catch his breath. However, Ling Taichu seemed to have steeled his heart to kill him. He ordered the primordious dragon to attack him together. Jiang Xiewang and the black demon tiger emperor were beaten into a sorry state. In the end, they retreated with heavy injuries. The main reason was that Ling Taichu had exhausted too much of his energy in the battle against the three of them. He had already reached his limit. If he was in his peak condition, he would have been able to force Jiang Xiewang to stay. Ling Taichu was also wounded badly. His god blood splashed and turned into golden ghost blood qi. Each flow of golden ghost blood qi was enough to kill any incipient god realm expert. He leaped onto the primordious dragon and used his soul consciousness to scan around. Then he dashed in a direction. Soon, Ling Taichu and the primordious dragon arrived in another area. They saw a crippled body floating in a turbulent area. Woody, you have to hold on. Ling Taichu screamed in fear. A drop of blood flew out from his fingertip and flew towards Ling Wudi, who was almost dead. Swoosh. Swoosh. All of a sudden, an incomparably powerful blood qi shot up into the sky. Ling Wudi was wrapped in a blood cocoon. His life energy was recovering rapidly. Soon, Ling Wudi's broken body was restored, and his aura was gradually recovering. Ling Taichu did not wait for Ling Wudi to recover completely. He wrapped him up and flew in another direction. In just a blink of an eye, he arrived at the place where Ling Xiao was killed. He made a hand seal to trace the origin. When he saw Ling Xiao being killed by the Black Demon Tiger Emperor, he sighed and said, "Such an outstanding youngster has fallen. It's really a shame for our Kim people." Ling Taichu was so sad. Even if he had supernatural means, he could not reassemble Ling Xiao's god soul and body. Ling Wudi also recovered at this time. He asked, "Little Xiao he's dead?" Ling Taichu kept quiet. He did not need to say more. Sigh, little Xiao was so talented, but he died at such a young age. It's really a great loss for our Kim people. Ling Wuti looked up to the sky and sighed. Let's go. He has done so many things for our clan. We will remember him in our hearts. Ling Taichu mourned for a while, and then took Ling Wuti back to the heaven area. The end of this battle was filled with endless sorrow. Far away in the Xianling continent, all of Ling Zhao's relatives were gathered here. They were temporarily brought back by Ling Xiao when he returned to the Xianling continent. This was also to prevent them from being affected by the battle in the heaven area. Ling Zhao's women all noticed that the jade tube of life that Ling Xiao had given them had been shattered into pieces. All of them burst into tears. Sister Yin, husband, he really? Ji Beixin pushed open the door to Feng Xianyun's room and asked. Feng Xianyun's face was full of tears. She did not need to explain anything. The expression on her face proved everything. No, husband is so powerful. How could he die? Ji Beixin could not accept the truth. At this time, the other women also appeared in front of Feng Xianyun's room. One by one, they burst into tears. I don't believe that young master would die. He has been through so many dangerous situations. He will come back to us soon. Bai Yuxi was the one who had been by Ling Zhao's side for the longest time. She had been with Ling Xiao since she was in Meteor City. She remembered that Ling Xiao had buried her mother, and she had volunteered to be his slave. However, Ling Xiao had never treated her like a slave. Instead, he had coaxed and protected her in every possible way. In a fit of rage, he had stormed into the Li family's brothel and forcefully rescued her. Because of all the things that had happened many years ago, Bai Yuxi had long regarded Ling Xiao as the most important person in her life. Even if she had to die for him, she would not have any objections. Now that her young master's jade tube of life had been shattered, whether she accepted the truth or not, there was nothing she could do to change it. My husband's heavenly talent is outstanding. He has surpassed the ancients and is proud of the present. Other than the eternal divinity, who else could take his life? Today I, Yun Mingqi, will definitely become the eternal divinity and help my husband kill his mortal enemy. Yun Mingqi's words were sonorous, her tears like jade, her anger overflowing. She and Ling Xiao could be considered as a pair of mandarin ducks. Ever since they met, it had been difficult for them to be together. Ling Xiao had overcome countless difficulties to catch up to her. However, many twists and turns later on, the two of them had been forcefully separated. They were only reunited after many years. Everything that Ling Xiao had experienced had been deeply imprinted in her heart. It was difficult for her to forget it for the rest of her life. Ling Zhao's death had shattered her heart. However, her will for revenge had gradually risen. All the women present felt as if their hearts were being cut by knives. Their beautiful eyes were suffused with scarlet. Their resentment soared to the sky. Almost all the spiritual beasts in the rainy swamp mountain range were terrified. When the other followers of Ling Xiao received the news of Ling Zhao's death, they were all incomparably angry and unable to accept it. Cruel Leopard, Yi Yunfeng, Solitary Eagle, and the others all wanted to kill their way back to the Heaven Domain and fight the Devil Tiger race. However, the demonic emperor and mad monk calmed them down and stopped them from acting impulsively. Palace Lord, I Solitary Eagle, swear that I will definitely take revenge for you in the future. Solitary Eagle bit the corner of his mouth and made a blood oath. Li Kuanghu's tiger eyes flickered with strong killing intent. He didn't say anything and turned around to find a place to go into seclusion. Only by becoming stronger could he avenge his palace lord. Boss, I don't believe that you will die. You are blessed and will definitely be reborn. Before you return, I will definitely help you take care of Ling Yu, Ling Zhe, Bing Shui, Su Ri, and the others. One day, they will definitely be able to restore your invincible prestige and sweep across the universe. Yi Yunfeng's eyes were filled with tears as he clenched his fists and said. Chapter 1726. In the depths of the rainy Luster Mountain Range, a small world was opened up, and all of Ling Zhao's friends and family lived there. They didn't return to the proud smiling palace because they didn't want the new generation of palace lords and disciples to feel pressured. Now, the sky of this small world was covered by dark clouds, and a heavy and sorrowful atmosphere permeated the air. Cries resounded in the sky. On a lonely peak, Hua Xiaogui looked sloppy. He held a jar of strong liquor in his hand and drank a few mouthfuls. Then he looked up to the sky and sighed. Boss, didn't you say you have the fate of an immortal dragon? How could you die? All of this must be fake, right? For so many years, you have created legend after legend, making us brothers look up to you, making the people of the world marvel and revere you. Now you have passed away at such a young age. This is the world's sore, the heavens' pain. I still remember when you taught me the alchemy technique, helped me find the earth fire, and gave me a powerful capital. Now that you are no longer here, how can I become a supreme alchemy god like you one day? Hua Xiaogui cried out in sorrow and couldn't calm down for a long time. Another man with strong muscles and explosive strength walked towards him. There was no expression on his face. He only waved his hand and drank a jar of strong liquor. He didn't even notice that the liquor splashed onto his clothes. Xiaogui, let the past be the past. When boss brought us back, he probably had some sort of premonition. We still have to live for him so that everyone in the world will remember boss' great deeds. Tang Gaij sighed. On another peak, Ling Zhao's first disciple, Xin Li, held an azure sword in his hand and made a shocking blood oath. I don't care how powerful the eternal god is, one day, I will kill him and avenge my master. Then a ray of azure light cut through the 9 heavens, and boundless divine light fell down. Far away in the heaven domain, among the Gu race of the heavenly sparrow domain, the gentle young clan leader suddenly went crazy. Ah! He cried out in alarm. His entire being turned into a streak of golden light, and rushed into the sky. Boundless divine force gathered around him. He wanted to rush out of the 9 heavens and enter the outer realm. Presently, he was only at the high-level God-King realm. If he were to forcefully enter the outer realm, then he would surely be struck by the chaotic astral winds and be torn to pieces. An old figure caught up from behind, and a powerful force shackled him. Tian, or what are you doing? The old man scolded. I'm going to kill those bastards from the devil tiger race. Feng Ling Tian revealed an incomparably furious and sorrowful expression as he replied. Didn't I tell you earlier? The devil tiger race is powerful. Now that they have an eternal god, we must endure it. The elder consoled. Endure, endure, endure. My father has already fallen. He must have died in the hands of the eternal god of the devil tiger race. If not, no one in the world can harm him. How long do I have to endure? I want to kill everyone in the devil tiger race. Feng Ling Tian clenched his fists tightly and shouted. His tears slowly flowed out. The pain he felt was indescribable. What? Your father actually died? How is this possible? Didn't Kim people also have an eternal god? How can this be? The elder cried out in alarm. Ling Xiao was already a legendary figure in the heaven domain. In a short span of 200 to 300 years, he created one miracle after another, becoming one of the most revered figures of the later generations. Even the figures of the older generation couldn't help but feel reverence for him. Let me go. I want to be irreconcilable with the people of the devil tiger race. Feng Ling Tian roared once again. Child, how heroic was your father? He has already fallen. You have to calm down. Wait until the day you achieve eternal god. Then it won't be too late to sweep through the devil tiger race. The elder sighed and suddenly made a move. He knocked Feng Ling Tian unconscious and brought him back to the race. Ling Zhao's death had hurt the people close to him a lot. However, it had also ignited the seed of revenge in their hearts. They worked hard and tried their best to cultivate. One day, they would flatten the devil tiger race and take revenge for Ling Xiao. In the dragon-gazing mountain range, Ling Xiao had a monument erected for the descendants of the Kim people to worship him. It was the great deeds that Ling Xiao had done for the Kim people. He would be worshipped and worshipped by the descendants of the Kim people forever. After Ling Taichu returned to the clan to rest for 1 month, he and the ancient dragon directly went to the Heaven Source area to sweep the Devil Tiger race and restore the peace of the Heaven Source area. However, the Heaven Source area had been ruled by the Devil Tiger race for 2 years. They had lost many families, forces, and hotshots. It would take them another 1,000 years to recover. Right after that, Ling Taichu went to the Heaven Tiger area to sweep all the evil forces that belonged to the Devil Tiger race. He had used the true flame of his eternal god. He had killed around 200 or 300 incipient god realm experts in the Heaven Tiger area. The eternal god of the Devil Tiger race, Jiang Xiewang, didn't come out to challenge Ling Taichu. Less than 2 days later, Ling Taichu had wiped out all the forces of the Devil Tiger race. He had announced, "If the Devil Tiger race dares to step into the heaven territory again, we will kill them without mercy." Ling Taichu had used his prestige alone to shock the entire heaven territory. It had also pushed the Kim people to the peak of the heaven territory. They had become the most arrogant existences in the heaven territory. Many young warriors in the heaven territory wanted to join the Dragon Gate and become their disciples. Their main purpose was to form an alliance with the Kim people. They wanted their disciples to become the eternal God's disciples, so that they could be protected. Ling Taichu didn't have the time to care about these things at the moment. He went straight to the outskirts of the heaven region, and left a divine sense avatar outside the heaven region with his supreme strength. As long as Jiang Xiawang, Lei Zhanyang, Oslo, and the others appeared, he would be the first to know and stop them from entering the heaven region. His purpose was to prevent Jiang Xiawang and the others from destroying the heaven territory in desperation. That would be a disaster for everyone in the heaven territory. Therefore, Ling Taichu had to make some preparations to fight. After doing all this, Ling Taichu used his own name to summon the God-grade formation masters in the heaven territory. These usually arrogant formation masters came out from all over the world and rushed towards the Kim people. No one in the world dared to go against the summons of the eternal God. If they could receive the care of the eternal God, they would definitely become the most respected person in the heaven territory in the future. They might even obtain some unexpected gains. There were nearly 30 God-grade formation masters in total. They usually lived in seclusion in the mountains and rivers and rarely came out. Now they were all gathered together, waiting for Ling Taichu's orders. In the end, they all knew that Ling Taichu wanted them to set up the origin formation. This was a heaven-defying formation. Legend had it that it could create an ancient star field. Once the origin formation was completed, it would become a heaven territory, or even more than that. This kind of formation could absorb a lot of origin energy from the outer domain, and form a circular boundary, making all things immortal. It was a pity that the divine formation masters present were all old monsters who had studied formations for many years, but none of them understood this heaven-defying formation that only belonged to the legends. This was a kind of formation that had been lost since ancient times. No one had obtained its inheritance. It would probably be difficult for it to reappear in the world. When the Kim people heard the words of these divine formation masters, they were all extremely disappointed. The light attribute Genesis stone that Ling Xiao obtained from the light space had already been handed over to Ling Wudi. Otherwise, his death might also destroy the light attribute Genesis stone. Now that the 9 Genesis stones had been gathered, they just lacked the legendary origin formation. If Ling Hongyu wanted to perfectly leave the Xianling continent and become the new eternal God, it would undoubtedly be as difficult as ascending to heaven. Ling Taichu and the others almost gave up on this idea. But Ling Hongyu, who was in the Xianling continent, did not want to miss the opportunity to ascend, so he asked them to wait for another 100 years. If he could not find the person who could set up the origin formation in 100 years, then he could only give up and continue to wait, and come out of the boundary. After all, Ling Taichu had used a powerful method to set up the restriction on the Xianling continent, which could at least allow the Xianling continent to exist for another 10,000 years. He did not need to make any more sacrifices. A year passed in a hurry, and the heaven domain returned to its previous peace. Without the Demon Tiger clan causing chaos, everything seemed to be much quieter. But they all knew that the Demon Tiger clan had begun to unify the West domain, and there might be a war in the future. Therefore they all elected the Kim people as the overlord of the heaven domain, with the Kim people as their leader. In the future, they would listen to their orders and fight against the invading enemies. In order to protect their families, to protect their territory, they had to make some sacrifices. Because of this, the Kim people also had a transcendent status in the heaven domain, becoming the #1 family in the heaven domain, and the Kim people also reached unprecedented glory. But it was a pity that the Kim people did not have many connections, and there was a phenomenon of a shortage of young people, which made them quite worried. If not for powerful existences like Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi, who used all kinds of divine items to strengthen their remaining bloodline and improve their physique, it would be extremely difficult for them to reach the Divine King, or even the supreme level. Then the Kim people rebuilt the Dragon Gate and the Sky Dragon City, and gradually recovered the strength of the past. Even if they continued to develop like this, it would not be difficult for them to surpass the original glory in the future. In the depths of the North Domain Road, there was an ancient and hidden space continent. This space continent was extremely small, only the size of a city, and in the outer domain, it looked more like an ordinary giant meteorite. But this small continent flickered with an inexplicable power, and it could actually hide in the void, withstanding the many chaotic forces that could not destroy it, and it could confuse the eyes of any supreme-level martial artist, and not be discovered by others. Looking down from the sky, there were traces of formation patterns that could not be detected in the space of this continent. It was this great formation that hid this continent, and it could not be destroyed or discovered, and it could absorb the power of Genesis into it, which was quite magical. Looking closely, this great formation was like the 8 trigrams Great Formation, with all kinds of mysterious and complicated patterns, dazzling the eyes. On this continent, there were actually dozens of ordinary families, like people living in seclusion. It was really unbelievable. These people ranged from children to the elderly, and all of them were very strong, just that their clothes were a little primitive. Chapter 1727. A child breathed in the morning sun while an old farmer enjoyed the beauty of the moon. This hidden, unknown land was a rare place to live. This place was full of blooming flowers, lush green grass, murmuring streams, friendly spirit birds, and thick spirit chi. This place could be called a paradise. In a courtyard, a young man dressed in extremely simple clothes held a divine brush in his hand and stood in the position of the 8 trigrams. Ancient characters appeared behind him one after another. Qian Kuan Junsun, Ken Li Zhen and Dui. The 8 ancient characters sparkled with holy divine light. From time to time they turned into the 8 diagrams and spun around. Flows of essence chi from heaven and earth congregated on the man's divine brush. Beams of divine light sparkled with mysterious patterns that were similar to the 8 diagrams in this space. However, it was a smaller version. Qian is the sky, Kuan is the earth, Zhen is the thunder, Sun is the wind, Ken is the water, Li is the fire, Zhen is the mountain, and Dui is the lake. The young man mumbled. His hands moved faster. The divine brush shot out beams of light everywhere. Beast pellets with different attributes flew around the manor. Boom. All of a sudden, an earth-shaking sound arose. A mass of primal chaos divine light appeared and covered the entire manor. Countless wisps of essence chi swarmed toward this place. The strange phenomenon that had occurred here had already been seen by the people nearby. However, they just glanced at this place. Their faces didn't change much. After a while, the halo of the manor stabilized. 5-colored energy shrouded the place, making it look so magnificent and sacred. Haha, I finally studied the 8 diagrams formation. The young man was so happy that he laughed crazily. This man looked disheveled with messy hair. His simple clothes were torn and tattered. Many parts of his body were dirty. He looked like a refugee. However, when he lifted his jet black hair, a handsome face was revealed. His smile was filled with boundless excitement. With a closer look, this young man was Ling Zhao's brother, Xian Yao, who had been separated from him for around 200 years. That year, Ling Xiao had asked his people to pay attention to Xian Yao's whereabouts. Unfortunately, there was no news of him. He didn't expect that he would come to this outer space. It was really puzzling. It should be noted that he was at the half-incipient God realm. He hadn't reached the incipient God realm yet. How could he move in outer space and intrude this small world? At this time, a faintly discernible voice sounded. Not bad. You have already grasped the basics of the 8 trigrams formation. However, this is only the minor 8 trigrams formation. It is still far from the major 8 trigrams formation. Continue to work hard. Aside from Xian Yao, there was no one else in the manor. No one knew where the voice was coming from. Xian Yao's smile froze, and his entire body collapsed as he cried out, "Old man, please let me go. Didn't you say that you would let me go back to the heaven region after I set up the minor heavenly cycle 8 trigrams formation?" I'm talking about waiting for you to set up the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation and walk out of here by yourself. The voice sounded again. Old man, you're not trustworthy. I've been trapped here for 100 years. Can't you let me go back and see my old friends before coming back? Xian Yao said with a sad face. What's the use of going back to the heaven realm now? Your old friends might not be here anymore. You should know that. I'll give you another 100 years to walk out of the Great Heavenly Cycle formation by yourself. Then I'll let you go. Xian Yao slumped on the ground. He looked up at the sky and sighed. Boss has the fate of an immortal cockroach, but he is destined to face a death tribulation. If he passes it, he will definitely become a wind and rain dragon. If he can't, then he's really dead. Xian Yao took out another turtle shell, shook it a bit, and began his divination. However, after several divinations, he couldn't see anything. He even used his blood essence to try to find out whether Ling Xiao was dead or alive. Don't waste your efforts. With your cultivation level, you can't see through the reincarnation of a dead person. Cultivate well. Maybe in less than 100 years, you'll be able to walk out of here. The old voice sounded again. Old man, can you help me do a divination? Xian Yao begged. However, the old voice didn't sound again. Xian Yao's pleas were useless. In the end, he could only shout, Why do I need 100 years? Old man, just you wait. I'll definitely be able to escape in 10 years. Xian Yao stopped studying formations. Instead, he began to cultivate to increase his strength. As long as he reached the supremacy stage, he would definitely be able to break through this Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. In the turbulent space near the radiant space, an eternal battle had taken place here, leaving behind unerasable traces. If it weren't for the fact that it wasn't in the outer realm, it would definitely become a good place for young talents to comprehend and cultivate. Unfortunately, this was the boundless outer realm. Even if it had been smashed into nothingness by the eternal God, it would gradually return to its original turbulent space with the passage of time. The space was boundless and dark. There wasn't a single trace of life in it. It was completely dead silent. In an inconspicuous location, there were specks of sparkling green energy floating in the wind. These specks of green energy couldn't be seen clearly with the naked eye. They weren't even 1/10 the size of a pinky finger. Like a glowing insect, they floated in the wind and flew tens of thousands of miles away in the blink of an eye. But at this moment, the green light seemed to grow a little bigger, and the light also seemed to be a little brighter. This speck of energy was like a speck of dust. Even if someone was here, they wouldn't care about its existence. In the blink of an eye, the stars changed and 50 years passed. A carefree laugh came from the hidden space on the northern realm path. Haha, I can finally walk out of the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. Xian Yao wore a tattered robe embroidered with the 8 trigrams divine steps as he walked among the mysterious formation patterns in the sky. His long hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. He had an extraordinary aura, and as he walked, it was as if he had merged with heaven and earth. He was like an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. In the void, a white-haired figure appeared. This person's attire was similar to Xian Yao's. He wore the 8 trigrams formation, and had a strange cross-shaped divine weapon on his back. He had an excessively youthful face that could make young people in their 20s sigh in admiration. This was an old monster who had returned to his youth. He was tall and thin with white hair and a youthful face. He had an otherworldly charm as he looked at Xian Yao with satisfaction. Very good. I didn't expect you to use 150 years to use formations as your Tao. You broke into the supremacy stage and even walked out of the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. I believe you have some control over it. The youthful elder smiled. Greetings, old man. Xian Yao bowed respectfully to the elder. He then asked, Can I return to the heaven region now? You can return at any time. However, I'm afraid your return will be in vain. The youthful elder said. Xian Yao immediately calculated with his fingers and looked in a direction. So my old friend is already in my hometown. I feel that they need me. I have to return immediately. After saying that, Xian Yao shouted and rushed out of the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. Now that he was a low-level supremacy incipient god realm expert, He could fly in outer space and was no longer afraid of the chaotic astral winds. You don't have to rush back. Let me ask you, what have you learned from the 8 trigrams formation? The youthful elder asked. Xianyao thought for a moment and said, the Tao of array fear is one, which can give birth to 2, 3 and 3 to all things. The great heavenly cycle formation is ever-changing, and it is the mother of all formations. Over the years, apart from studying various ancient formations with this old man, he had spent most of his time comprehending this ancient formation, which was known as the most ancient formation. He had already gained a lot of experience in his heart. The child-faced old man smiled with satisfaction and said, good, very good. You are indeed worthy of being the genius of our witch clan. You have already inherited my mantle, but you are still a little lacking in terms of cultivation. In the future, the great responsibility of our witch clan returning to the world will fall on you. The Wu clan was one of the ancient races. They were the most proficient in formations, divination, Li, and heaven's secrets. It was said that they peeped into heaven's secrets, but they were killed by lightning. No one would have thought that they had already lived in seclusion in outer space. The hundreds of people living on this land were the descendants of the Wu clan. And Xianyao also had the bloodline of the Wu clan in his body. This was his true identity. Back then he had followed Ling Xiao from the Xianling continent. He had come to the heaven realm from the Xianling continent to borrow the luck of the Ling Xiao dynasty. That was how he had experienced all kinds of things. The youthful elder in front of him was an ancestor-level figure of the Wu clan. He was a famous existence in the top 10 of the sovereign list in the heaven realm. His name was Fu Yi, and it was said that he was the descendant of the ancient giant god Fuxi. He had the divine formation that could rule the world and make ghosts and gods weep. Old man, I'm afraid I can't take on such a big responsibility, Xianyao said humbly. If you can't take on such a big responsibility, our clan will have to live in this small place forever, Fu Yi said. He paused for a moment before continuing, let's go. It's time for us to return to our homeland. We are needed there, and it's time for our Wu clan to return to the world. The things passed down by our ancestors cannot be broken. Return to our homeland? Old man, do you mean the heaven realm? Xianyao asked. Fu Yi shook his head. Not the heaven realm, but the Xianling continent. After saying that, he released his aura. A peerless aura rippled out, and the cross-shaped divine artifact behind him flew out. This divine artifact was the 10-directional divine annihilation left behind by the ancient giant god Fuxi. Fu Yi's divine power was added to the 10-directional divine annihilation, and it split into 4, falling toward the land hidden under the void. Rise! Fu Yi's divine power was like the heavens. He sent down waves of divine power, and at the same time, 88 beast cores of the 11th rank and above fell toward the 8 trigrams formation. Swoosh! Tens of thousands of divine lights spread out like the manifestation of chaotic air. It seemed like dragons and phoenixes were fighting, and the 8 trigrams were spinning rapidly. The land began to fly. Chapter 1728. As for the others, Ling Zhan and Cruel Leopard had reached incipient god realm. Yi Yunfeng and Mad Tooth were at half incipient god realm. Lone Eagle, Cold Snake, and Li Kuanghu had all reached king god realm. 51 years had passed, and the rainy swamp mountain range had been transformed into a cultivation area. That was the reason why they had advised Ling Hongyu to give up waiting. I know. It's his destiny. But he is an undying cockroach. Maybe he still has a chance to survive. Xianyao answered. Haha, I didn't expect that there would be light at the end of the tunnel. We actually met Fu Yi. Ling Taichu glanced at the flying land and then looked back. Suddenly he laughed crazily. His speed could be compared to a supreme expert's flying speed for several days. All of this was because of Ling Zhao's death, and it had spurred them to cultivate madly. It caused them to think of the day when they could kill their way into the Devil-Tiger dimension and fight to the death with the Devil-Tiger clan. The Smiling Palace was also greatly affected by the changes of heaven and earth. More and more people had reached the Emperor level, and even the Saint level. Those who had joined the Smiling Palace had reached an unprecedented peak. The Smiling Palace was even more famous than the Martial Spirit Pavilion. Ling Wudi looked in that direction with a puzzled face. But he sensed nothing. This is a flying space. It's really magical. I wonder who has this kind of power. Ling Wudi couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the land approaching from afar. The Heavenly Cycle 8 Trigrams Formation is an ancient formation created by the ancestors of my clan. It is all-encompassing and can deduce tens of thousands of formations. You still have a long way to go. Fui said faintly, and then he said, "Who are come out?" Fui smiled. "If you understand one, you will understand 10,000. If you understand one, you will understand 10,000 formations. If you can help us restore our ancestral land to its former glory, I will do it without hesitation." It should be known that there were very few people who had the approval of the divine beasts. There was only one clan like the Kim people. Ling Hongyu did not reply. After a long while he said faintly, "Sai, do I really have to destroy the Xianling continent? Let me think about it." A snow-white tiger beast appeared by Fu Yi's side. Its body was mighty and majestic, and its 4 limbs were strong and sturdy. Every time it moved, it would emit the might of a tiger. On its forehead, there was the word king, which was formed by the only black fur on its body. It exuded an incomparable aura of a king. That serene and fierce light, that deep fangs, and an overbearing and ferocious aura gave off a feeling that no one would approach it. Old man, you really have to think about it carefully. Now that the heavenly region is under the control of our Kim people, the devil tiger race has already retreated to the outer realm. If you can return, the sons of the clan will be very happy, Ling Wudi said. Let's go, I'll bring you back to the Xianling continent. All your old friends are there, Fui said. It really is Fui, Ling Wudi exclaimed. You are Ling Zhao's friend, but it's a pity that Ling Xiao. Sigh. Ling Taichu sighed. Although Xian Yao had a thorough understanding of all kinds of formations, he was still shocked to see his old man's miraculous means. Ling Zhao's wife and children, as well as his relatives, were living in seclusion here. Even in the proud smiling palace, only a few elders knew of their existence. You are here? Have you found a divine formation master who can set up the formation of origin? Ling Hongyu's situation had improved a lot after he received Ling Taichu's help. As soon as the two people appeared, he immediately sensed them. An earth-shattering roar shook the surroundings, and an endless aura of a king swept across the surrounding space. However, at that moment, Ling Taichu stopped and looked in a direction far away from the outer realm. Someone is coming for the Xianling continent. Old man, we've searched both inside and outside the city. I'm afraid the person who can set up the origin formation hasn't shown up yet. You shouldn't waste any more time. Ling Wuheng said to Ling Hongyu. Aren't you a nanny to take care of them? The white tiger said. But I am a male, not a female. I can't give birth to tiger majesties. Uncle Taichu, what did you say? Ling Wudi trembled slightly. Ling Taichu said a few words and left the place with Ling Wudi. Besides, Ling Xiao had left them many divine materials, which was also the reason why they could be so successful. Brother Fui, you are really easy to find. Ling Taichu smiled at Fui. Xian Yao nodded and sat on the white tiger's back. Then he stroked the white tiger's fur and said, Aunt Hu, when are you going to give birth to a few tiger majesties? I will help you take care of them. Then he turned to Xian Yao and said, Yao, or greetings to the two seniors Kim people. He is your old friend's ancestor. At that moment, a white tiger appeared in front of them. It flew through the air and glared at Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi. On its back sat two people, Fui and Xian Yao. He didn't see anyone, but he trusted Ling Taichu's words. Haha, long time no see. Taichu, you have already surpassed the honorable realm and reached the eternal realm. Congratulations. Fui smiled at Ling Taichu. Damn old man, why didn't he tell me earlier? Xian Yao cursed in his heart. Let's talk about it later. Divine Master Fui, please go to Xianling continent and help us set up the origin formation. Ling Wudi urged. Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi were all on the sovereign ranking, so they had met before. In terms of age, Fui was also older than him. He was from the same generation as Ling Hongyu, so he deserved to be called Brother Fui. Xian Yao almost fainted when he heard that. The heavenly spiritual qi here couldn't satisfy them, So they went to the outworld to cultivate. Of course, they didn't go far away from Xianling continent. It shouldn't be them. Let's go and have a look. Ling Taichu said and flew in the same direction with Ling Wudi. 51 years had passed, and everyone related to Ling Xiao had advanced by leaps and bounds. Especially his women. All of them had reached the God King realm. None of them were weaker than the Holy Emperor. Some of them had even reached the incipient God realm. They were Yin Mingqi, Feng Xinyan, Yuro Fei, Yin Daijiao, Bing Ruoshui, and Dong Fengjing. Suddenly, a divine light flashed beside him, and the shadow of a beast appeared. Roar! Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi came to the Rain Luster mountain range just to visit them. Soon, they arrived at the barrier that Ling Hongyu had set up. Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi were here to visit Ling Xiao's family. After Yin Daijiao was saved by Ling Xiao, she was brought by Ling Xiao to live with his women. Otherwise, with their cultivation, it would be amazing if they could reach the God King realm. Xian Yao looked at the old man, wanting to ask for an explanation. But the old man was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed like an old monk. He didn't pay any attention to him. However, they had been searching for Fu Yi, but no one knew his whereabouts. The Universe 8 trigrams formation enveloped the land, forming a powerful defensive formation that pushed all the turbulent astral winds to the sides. He had seen the white tiger several times. It looked like a female tiger, and its voice was also like a female's. That was why he had always called it Ant Tiger. He didn't expect it to be a male. Ling Taichu also said, "That's right. We've gathered all the God Realm formation masters, but none of them know how to set up the origin formation." He paused for a moment before continuing. Rumor has it that the witch tribe's old ancestor Fu Yi is the most likely divine formation master to set up the origin formation. Unfortunately, the witch tribe has long disappeared, and Fu Yi's whereabouts have been unknown for tens of thousands of years. Uncle, don't be stubborn, come out. The 10-directional heavens annihilation was divided into 4 parts. It seemed to have become the wings of this city-sized land, allowing it to fly at an extremely fast speed. Little guy, do you want to be my child's wet nurse? The white tiger replied as it chased after the flying land. Xianyao looked at the white tiger, drooling. They didn't stop at the Xianling continent. They immediately rushed out of the domain and prepared to return to the heaven region. 2 friends, Kim people, how have you been? Fu Yi stood on the tiger's head with his hands behind his back and called out calmly. If they could set up the origin formation, and Ling Hongyu had a chance to break through to the Eternal Realm, then in the future, their race would have 2 Eternal Realm masters, and they would be able to sweep away all their enemies. It was no wonder that Ling Wudi couldn't sense them from so far away. Xianyao stepped forward and said respectfully, "Greetings, seniors. I am a good friend of Ling Xiao, Xianyao." They didn't know that all this was because the relatives of their old palace master had returned to the depths of the mountain and set up all kinds of divine objects that could absorb the origin chi of the outer realm. He didn't put on the airs of an eternal god, and his attitude was quite humble. Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi naturally didn't know who Xian Huan was, but when they heard that he was an old friend of Ling Xiao, they responded very enthusiastically. "Ahem, nanny. You misunderstood. I'm their nanny." No, I'm wrong. "I'm their foster father." "I'm wrong again. I'm helping you take care of them," Xian Yao said incoherently. However, they didn't expect to meet Fu Yi at this time, and this made them very happy. Ling Wudi also said eagerly, "Yes, Divine Master Fu Yi, I heard that you can set up the origin formation. Is that true?" Xianling continent, deep in the Yuza mountain range. This was one of the 9 legendary divine beasts, the white tiger divine beast, and it was this old man's mount. This was quite amazing. All these years, they had been summoning many divine formation masters, but none of them could set up the origin formation. However, from the divine formation masters, they learned that the only person who could set up such a formation was Fu Yi. Who is it? Did the demon tiger race or the wing tribe discover this space? Ling Wudi was puzzled. Although they lived together, most of their time was spent on cultivation. "You are flattering me. Although I have reached the eternal realm, there are some things that I can't do. I still need brother Fu Yi's help, and we the Kim people will be very grateful," Ling Taichu said. Chapter 1729. Fu Yi and Xian Yao followed Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi back to the Xianling continent. Xian Yao sighed with emotion. Home is indeed different. It feels so comfortable to be back. Xian Yao could not wait to rush to the rainy Luster Mountains to see his old friends. Fu Yi followed behind, but he was not in a hurry to set up the origin formation. Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi did not rush him either. After all, it had been so long, and there was no need to rush. Ling Zhan was the first to see Xian Yao. He rushed out from a mountain peak and exclaimed, You are military advisor Xian Yao? Even though Ling Zhan was Ling Zhao's father, he still had to address Xian Yao as military advisor. Back then, although Ling Xiao was the one who founded the Smiling Palace, most of the time, it was Xian Yao who managed it. Xian Yao's reputation was second only to Ling Zhao's. Uncle Zhan. Xian Yao excitedly went up to Ling Zhan and greeted him respectfully. He and Ling Xiao addressed each other as brothers, and he had long called Ling Zhan his father. Great, where have you been all these years? Everyone misses you. Ling Zhan held Xian Yao's hand emotionally. He could not help but think of his only son who had passed away, and his eyes were filled with tears. I miss everyone too. Now that I'm back, we will all be together again. Xian Yao said with a choked voice. At this time, Ling Zhan looked down and shouted, Everyone come out quickly. The military advisor is back. Everyone come out quickly. The military advisor is back. Ling Zhan shouted continuously, unable to hide the excitement in his heart. His voice reverberated through the mountain peaks, causing the spiritual birds to scatter in all directions. Suddenly, a group of figures rushed out from the mountain peaks and into the sky. It's really the military advisor. That's great. Yi Yinfeng exclaimed. Great, the military advisor is back. With him around, we can destroy the demon tiger tribe and avenge our palace master. The military advisor can predict the future. He must know that our palace master is not dead. I hope you can find my husband's whereabouts. We will be eternally grateful. Whether it was Ling Zhao's followers or Ling Zhao's women, all of them were extremely excited. Their trust in Xian Yao was incomparable to that of ordinary people. At the same time, they also hoped that Ling Xiao was still alive. They hoped that Xian Yao could calculate Ling Zhao's whereabouts for them. Actually, this was just their way of comforting themselves. Faced with the enthusiasm of so many old friends, Xian Yao almost shed tears. His heart was incomparably warm. Many people cheered as they welcomed Xian Yao into their living quarters. This was the happiest and most exciting day since Ling Zhao's death. Meng Xian walked toward Xian Yao and cried, Advisor, quickly help Xiao, or divine if he's dead or not. Meng Xian was the most saddened by Ling Zhao's death. Originally, she could have stayed young forever, but now her hair had turned white, and she looked broken. Her daughters-in-law were all anxious and sad. However, Meng Xian was suffering from a mental illness. Even if they had heaven-defying divine items, they couldn't stop her aging. Auntie, don't worry. I said that Palace Master has the fate of an immortal true dragon. No one can take his life away. Right now, he is only in a temporary predicament. Not long later, he will definitely return to reunite with everyone. Xian Yao said in a flustered manner. Good. With military advisor's words, I can rest assured. I know that Xiao is definitely still alive. He will return to our side. Meng Xian smiled with tears in her eyes. It was unknown if she really believed Xian Yao's words, or if she was deceiving herself. In short, her smile today was much happier than the others. One day passed. Xian Yao and everyone had a joyous reunion. Meanwhile, Fu Yi, Ling Taichu, Ling Wudi, and the others had more or less finished discussing the matters of the origin grand formation. Fu Yi could arrange all kinds of ancient formations, even the origin grand formation. The premise was that he had to find 9 incipient god realm masters of different attributes, 99 beast cores of different attributes, and all kinds of rare divine materials as the foundation. Only then could he arrange such a grand formation. Moreover, it would take a long time. It couldn't be completed in a few days or months. This kind of formation was no less complicated than the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. It was estimated that it would take at least 10 years to complete. 10 years. This was definitely not a long time for Ling Hongyu, who had endured for more than 2,000 years. He could totally afford to wait. In order to complete the Origin Grand Formation as soon as possible, Ling Taichu personally went to the outer realm to search for all kinds of rare divine materials. Ling Wudi didn't stay idle either. He sent people to move his army in the Gold Supreme Space to Heaven region and search for divine materials together. Xian Yao and his grandfather, Fu Yi, began to travel all over the Xianling continent to find the most suitable formation I. Then, they arranged the required formation patterns outside the Xianling continent. When the formation patterns were arranged and the divine materials were gathered, the Origin Grand Formation could be activated. The holes in the Xianling continent's enchantment would be repaired, and it would be revitalized once again. When that time came, the Xianling continent would only need a long time to expand its area, gather all kinds of origin energy, and restore its prestige as an ancient continent. Everyone was busy, and everything was carried out in an orderly manner. The Demon Tiger clan, the Thunder clan, and the Winged Men clan had been collecting territories in the outer realm. This caused their forces to expand and their fame to spread far and wide. They had never come to provoke Heaven region. No one knew if they were afraid of Ling Taichu and the Primordius dragon, or if they were waiting for the right time to attack again. The stars moved, and the years overlapped. In an unknown void, there was an indescribable ball of divine light that flickered endlessly. At first, it was just like a cocoon of light, drifting to an unknown place. However, wherever it went, it constantly gathered the power of the wood element to increase its power. Gradually, it took the shape of a heart. This was not its final shape. Later on, it broke apart, like a small tree that had just sprouted, and bloomed with incomparable life force. This small tree had been attacked by countless chaotic astral winds, and destroyed by many strange spaces in the past few decades. However, its life force never died, and it seemed to contain the most tenacious power. Every time it bent, it would stand up straight again. After going through countless storms, the small tree changed once again. It actually grew into the shape of a dragon, and its trunk was covered with golden scales, making it look quite strange and inexplicable. Not only that, the spaces it passed through were filled with destructive forces that could destroy everything. They could no longer cause any damage to the tree, and instead, they began to gather around it. The incomparably sharp power of metal, the vigorous power of wood, the melodious and majestic power of waves, the incomparably violent raging fire, the heavy power of earth, the raging power of wind that wreaked havoc in the world, the most terrifying power of thunder, the devil's cave that was filled with infinite darkness, and the divine power that contained infinite light. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, darkness, light, and the other 9 extreme powers were all absorbed by this small dragon-shaped tree, causing it to form a divine cocoon that dazzled the world. This divine cocoon was not very large at first, but as time flew, it gradually expanded and absorbed, causing it to condense into a space that contained the power of the 9 primordial powers. They reinforced and restrained each other, condensing into a chaotic world that also contained wind and thunder, forming the alternation of seasons. Yin and yang intersected, and the power of time was derived. It flickered between light and dark, just like the length of day and night. The various powers rumbled, and the various powers gathered to form the most primitive power of space in this world. Fortunately, there was no one near this space. Otherwise, they would definitely be shocked by this wondrous space, and they would even think that some heaven-defying divine item was contained within. The reality was that this primordial space was indeed undergoing a shocking change. The small dragon-shaped tree gradually transformed into a slender human figure. Its head, hands, body, and legs were slowly manifesting. The green cocoon light took a full 30 years to condense into a 9-colored primordial space, and then it took a full 20 years to finally form a human figure. This process seemed to take a long time, but for many cultivators, it was still relatively short. One day, several years later, an unknown top-level primordial beast approached this primordial space. It wanted to explore the mysteries of this place. Unfortunately, as soon as it approached this space, it was so frightened that it kept retreating. However, before it could retreat too far, A hand reached out from the primordial space and instantly grabbed this beast with over a dozen mountains. This hand was like a world of its own, capable of imprisoning and capturing everything. It was truly terrifying. Roar. The vicious beast roared with all its might. It wanted to break free from this hand, but no matter how hard it struggled, it was of no use. After a while, the hand let go, allowing the vicious beast to leave. The vicious beast didn't dare stay. It had long been scared out of its wits, and it wanted to scram as far as it could. The hand retracted and once again merged into the primordial space. The indistinct figure began to move. He sat down cross-legged like an old monk, sinking into a state of quiet contemplation, or perhaps meditation. The changes in this primordial space began to gather, expanding at a speed that was many times faster than before. Many of the strange spaces nearby seemed to have been swallowed by it, unable to cause any trouble. After an unknown amount of time, this primordial space finally stopped expanding. The space it occupied had reached a frightening level. Suddenly, all of the primordial space began to shrink, and the power of origin within billions of miles was swept away. A giant whirlpool suddenly appeared. This was like a natural disaster that couldn't be described with words. The moment the primordial space disappeared, the situation changed again. Roar. Roar. 9 world-shaking dragon cries roared out. 9 true dragon shadows broke through layer after layer of space, as if they were several tens of thousands of meters in length. They shot straight into the sky, breaking free from the restrictions of the heavens. It was an incomparably magnificent sight, incomparably shocking. When the dragon shadows dissipated, a young and handsome dignified figure appeared. He revealed a faint smile and faintly said, "Is this the eternal realm? It doesn't seem like much." Chapter 1730. 58 years after Ling Zhao's death, the Origin Great Formation on Xianling continent had hundreds of millions of mysterious and complicated formation patterns. Other than Fu Yi and Xian Yao, there were a few old farts from the sorcerer tribe who also joined in to set up the formation. It could be said that every member of the shaman tribe knew how to set up formations and divination. They had the divine power that the other ancient tribes couldn't compare with. During these years, Ling Taichu had used his divine power to go in and out of many forbidden spaces. He had gathered all kinds of rare divine materials. It could be said that everything was ready except for one last thing. On this day, Fu Yi summoned Ling Taichu and Ling Wudi to announce that they could set up the Origin Great Formation. This period of time had already greatly exceeded the estimated amount of time. Good, as long as we set up the Origin Great Formation, Xianling continent will not be destroyed. In the future, it might become another heaven territory. Ling Taichu replied excitedly. Ling Wudi was concerned about his grandfather. This old man will be free soon. Let's begin. You guys guard the 8 incipient God realm experts of different attributes according to Qian, Kuan, Zhan, Sun, Kan Li, Zhen, and Dui. I will stay in the gate of heaven. Listen to my orders. Put 9 kinds of source stones into the 9 incipient eyes. Yao, you take care of everything. Put in all the beast pellets and divine materials. Do not let anyone make a mistake. Otherwise, years of effort will be wasted. It might even cause the destruction of Xianling continent. Fu Yi said solemnly. As Fu Yi's voice fell, everyone immediately rushed out of Xianling continent and went to the outer space. They looked down at Xianling continent and prepared to set up the Origin Great Formation. Just when everyone was about to set up the array, Ling Taichu suddenly shouted, "Oh no, the heaven domain is in trouble. I must hurry back. Please, Brother Fu Yi, you must set up the origin array. Wudi, you protect them. If anyone dares to attack, use my divine sense clone to kill him." Ling Taichu did not say anything else and immediately turned into a streak of golden light that shot towards the direction of the heaven domain. Not good. Are the demon tiger tribe and the thunder tribe coming again? Have they dared to challenge Uncle Taichu? Ling Wudi said worriedly. Everybody, return to your positions. Arrange the great formation of the Genesis. Fu Yi's countenance was stern. He held the Genesis stone and shouted at the others. The 8 incipient God realm experts and Fu Yi took action at the same time. 9 Genesis stones with different attributes were thrown at the 9 formation eyes of the 4 Xianling continents. At the same time, Xian Yao and a few other formation rune divine masters also made their moves. The beast cores and divine materials in their hands shot towards the small formation eyes. Swoosh! Tens of thousands of light rays flashed in the starry sky, forming a beautiful meteor shower, causing the people of Xianling continent to exclaim in admiration. They all thought that it was a strange phenomenon from the sky and a holy object had appeared, so they all chased after the light. However, incipient God realm experts had set up the restrictions in the eyes of the formation. With their low competence, how could they find all the divine materials? The origin great formation was being activated in an irregular manner, and the heaven domain was once again in danger. The three eternal gods, Jiang Xiawang, Lei Zhanyang, and Oslo, had joined hands again. They had sensed that Ling Taichu wasn't in the heaven domain, so they had chosen this time to attack. They planned to kill the primordious dragon first, and then deal with Ling Taichu later. Fortunately, the distance between Xianling continent and the heaven domain wasn't very far. With Ling Taichu's speed, it was just a matter of a few blinks. When he rushed back to the heaven domain, he saw that the three eternal gods were already locked in battle with the primordious dragon. The earth-shaking sounds of collision were extremely terrifying. The energy that splashed out was so majestic that any incipient god realm expert would die instantly. The primordious dragon had spat out his dragon ball, so his power had increased to 300 times its limit. He shouldn't be at a disadvantage when fighting 1 against 3. However, no one knew what kind of divine item Lei Zhanyang had obtained that could actually bind the primordious dragon, so that it couldn't use its full power. It could only wait to be slaughtered. It was a huge net that contained boundless thunder and lightning. It wrapped around the primordious dragon, and continuously attracted the most terrifying chaos heavenly lightning to attack it. Moreover, the net was shrinking so much that even the primordious dragon could not break free from it. Its body was already riddled with bloody wounds. The primordious dragon roared unceasingly, its body writhing unceasingly as it was attacked by 3 different kinds of energy. Many of its scales were splashed, and its dragon blood dyed the outer space red. Bastards, go to hell! Ling Taichu didn't expect the other party to come prepared. He rushed over from afar and attacked with the golden dragon altar mercilessly. Your opponent is me. Oslo smiled faintly and abandoned the primordious dragon. He waved the light scepter and charged at Ling Taichu. Oslo had a real eternal divine weapon, so he could fight against Ling Taichu. On the other side, Jiang Xiawang and Lei Zhanyang continued to grind down the primordious dragon. This time, they attacked again, which proved that they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. There wouldn't be a second chance, so they threw caution to the wind. The primordious dragon used the most terrifying power of the Dragon Ball to finally wear down the lightning net. However, its condition was already extremely poor. It couldn't even withstand the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's attacks. Moreover, there were 2 eternal gods attacking mercilessly. Brother Lei, we must kill this Dragon Emperor today, or else we'll be the ones dying next time. Jiang Xiawang shouted at Lei Zhanyang. Lei Zhanyang nodded and didn't reply. He just turned into endless chaos lightning and attacked the primordious dragon. Ling Taichu was extremely anxious. He finally couldn't help but summon the primordious dragon back into his wristband and let it recover first. However, the situation he was facing was even more dangerous. It could be said that he was fighting 1 against 4. His defeat was already set in stone. Ling Taichu's blood dyed the sky. He was very unwilling and wanted to retreat immediately. However, Jiang Xiawang laughed sinisterly and said, "If you run, I'll kill every single one of you Kim people. Even those golden dragons will disappear from this world. You guys are so ruthless. Aren't you afraid that I'll drag any one of you down with me?" Ling Taichu roared angrily with the golden dragon altar protecting him. "Only when you're dead can the 3 of us sit on our current territory," Lei Zhanyang said. Oslo said, "There are too many eternal gods. It's better to have 1 less." As the 3 of them spoke, they had already split up, forming an encirclement around Ling Taichu as they began to unleash fierce attacks on him. However, at this time, there was a powerful energy fluctuation coming from the Xianling continent. Rays of 9-colored divine light shone brightly, attracting the attention of the eternal gods. Could it be that some heaven-defying divine item has appeared? Tiger King, go take a look. Jiang Xiawang was the first to react. He immediately ordered the Black Demon Tiger King to head towards the Xianling continent. Ling Taichu was shocked. He could not let them know what was happening in the Xianling continent. Otherwise, it would affect the Xianling continent's plans. In that split second, Ling Taichu's back was struck by Oslo's radiant scepter. His body was almost dismembered. The eternal gods were immortal. They would not die so easily. Ling Taichu endured the pain and charged towards the Black Demon Tiger King. However, Lei Zhanyang once again blocked his way. Thousands of lightning bolts concentrated on Ling Taichu. Arg! I'll kill you all! Ling Taichu was on the verge of losing his mind. He attacked the Golden Dragon altar without any regard for his life. Drops of blood fell on it, and countless golden dragons roared as they rushed out, forcing Lei Zhanyang and Jiang Xiawang to retreat. Oslo followed up with another sneak attack. The holy light contained boundless killing power. Ling Taichu continued to fight. He tried his best to break out of the encirclement, but he suffered an unprecedented injury. His entire body aged rapidly. This was because he had lost too much blood essence. Even if he was the eternal god, he would not be able to replenish his lost blood essence in a short period of time. Quick, let's go in that direction. Kim people might be up to something. Jiang Xiawang shouted. Seeing Ling Taichu so nervous, he immediately sensed it. The three eternal gods trapped Ling Taichu. The Black Demon Tiger King had already arrived near the Xianling continent. He saw Fu Yi and the others who were creating the array. Roar! The Black Demon Tiger King roared from afar. Everyone who was creating the array started bleeding from their orifices. They almost died. Ling Wudi charged towards the Black Demon Tiger King. It's your Demon Tiger clan again. I'll kill you today. This concerned his grandfather's life and death. Ling Wudi was fearless. He turned into a true dragon and charged towards the Black Demon Tiger King. The array's eye is back in place. Yaoer, it's up to you to activate the array. I'll hold this demon tiger back. Fu Yi said to Xianyao. Then he immediately headed in another direction. His palms shot out rays of divine light. Suddenly, a white tiger flew into the sky. Behind it was a small piece of land. Invading my ancestral land. Kill. Fu Yi roared and landed on the land. He instantly activated the great heavenly 8 trigrams array. Balls of 8 trigrams light intertwined and rotated. At the same time, thousands of rays of light filled with killing intent shot towards the Black Demon Tiger King. The great heavenly 8 trigrams array was an ancestral array created by the ancestors of the witch tribe. It had the power to shock the heavens and make the gods weep. Fu Yi used the 10-directional heavenly annihilation to unleash a boundless 8 trigrams light that was infinitely close to the attack of the eternal god. Even the Black Demon Tiger Emperor was unable to endure such a terrifying power, and it was sent flying again and again. The White Tiger Divine Beast suddenly attacked. It was already an 11th ranked Divine Beast at the peak of its power. It could not compete with the Black Demon Tiger King, but it was a god among tigers. It could suppress the Black Demon Tiger King's battle strength, making it difficult for the Black Demon Tiger King to use its full strength. Ling Wudi was not killed by the Black Demon Tiger King. Instead, the White Tiger Divine Beast bit off a piece of the Black Demon Tiger King's flesh. The bloody scene was quite disgusting. Brother Wudi, get out of the way. Let me kill this tiger. Fu Yi said and continued to activate the top-grade divine array towards the Black Demon Tiger King. Chapter 1731. Formations possessed all kinds of unimaginable power. As long as they were set up and controlled properly, they could kill all kinds of powerful enemies. Since ancient times, many ancient formations had killed many experts who tried to enter the secret realms. Fu Yi had studied ancient formations for tens of thousands of years. Now he had developed the Great Zhou 8 trigrams formation left behind by his ancestor to the acme of perfection. Fu Yi did not know how many gods had been killed by the Great Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation. All he knew was that his ancestor had once said that it could kill any enemy leader if it advanced, and ensure the safety of a region if it retreated. This meant that the formation was extraordinary. As soon as Fu Yi made his move, The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was shocked. Even Ling Wudi was shocked. What kind of strange formation is this? It's so scary. Ling Wudi exclaimed in his heart. Fui walked in the direction of the 8 trigrams and attacked with all kinds of power. The 8 trigrams were like a world of their own. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was frightened for a moment. After the Black Demon Tiger Emperor tried a few more times, it realized that the formation couldn't hurt it. Hence, it let out a fierce roar and swatted at Fui Nu, who was on land. One of his claws was even bigger than the small space on the ground. The power of the claws tore the space apart and forced Ling Wudi to roll far away. I've been waiting for you. Fui was like a god in the space on the ground. He walked in all directions and triggered the killing formation. Tens of thousands of chaotic chi turned into sharp sword chi and flew towards the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. The Great Zhou 8 trigrams formation was a formation within a formation. This was the 10,000 sword killing formation, the most powerful killing formation in history. Hundreds of millions of sword chi clashed and countless sword rays turned into chaotic power of destruction. It was enough to destroy several stars. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The black tiger claw collided with the sword chi, producing a terrifying rumbling sound. The surrounding space was shaking violently. Even the people in the Xianling continent felt the tremors, and some mortals were even killed by the shockwaves. They all turned pale with fear and screamed. They felt that the end of the world was coming. The Xianling continent was in chaos. Xian Yao and the other divine formation masters who were setting up the formation were also affected. Fortunately, the battle was still quite far away. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Although the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's strength was terrifying, its claws were actually on the verge of being broken by the 10,000 swords killing array. The pain caused it to retreat again and again. Fu Yi, who was on land, was not faring much better. Although he had used the formation to resist the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's attack, he was still struck by the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's powerful strength, causing him to vomit blood repeatedly. The gap between realms was not something that could be easily closed. Fu Yi did not back down. He produced a pill in his hand and swallowed it. Then, he continued to control the land space formation to face the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. However, at this moment, a few terrifying spatial forces rushed over to this side. There were metal, lightning, darkness and light, and they flickered with endless killing intent as they crisscrossed with each other. Ling Taichu intended to block 3 Eternal Realm experts by himself, which was almost impossible. Nefarious Jiang was the first to rush to the vicinity of the Black Demon Tiger clan. What are they doing? Jiang Xiaowang did not understand what was going on. Activate the origin formation immediately. Xian Yao and the others immediately shouted after inserting all the divine materials into the formation's eye. If they did not activate the formation now, all their previous efforts would be in vain. Xiao. When the origin continent was activated, billions of divine lights floated, and the formation patterns flickered with unimaginable vast power. The origin energy in the surrounding space instantly gathered towards the Xianling continent. Divine splendor flashed, and the power was pure and vast. The people of the Xianling continent were overjoyed, as if they had returned to heaven from hell. Many cultivators who were originally at a bottleneck suddenly felt this powerful force, causing them to break through at the same time. In addition, the spiritual beasts had also felt the changes in the world. Many of them had obtained the opportunity to advance, and they roared incessantly at the sky. The exotic flowers and herbs in the world were even more fragrant, and they seemed to be flourishing. Ling Taichu, Ling Wudi, Xian Yao, and the others all showed expressions of excitement. They had finally done it. With the activation of the origin formation, the Xianling continent would exist forever, and its power would only increase. However, a single voice completely obliterated their excitement. Haha, is this the ancestral star of Yukim people? So it has already deteriorated to this stage. But you want to defy the heavens and restore it? What a pity, what a pity. Even if you have restored it today, we will make them disappear. Jiang Xiaowang laughed maniacally. After that, he crossed his hands, and a bottomless black hole of demonic clouds suddenly appeared. He wanted to engulf the Xianling continent, completely crushing it into dust. Bastard, How dare you destroy the Xianling continent? Even if I have to die, I will destroy your demonic tiger dimension. Ling Taichu shouted anxiously, and then rushed towards Jiang Xiawang. Countless golden dragons rushed towards the black hole of demonic clouds, blocking Jiang Xiawang's attack. However, Lei Zhanyang attacked him from the other side. The lightning spear in his hand struck Ling Taichu thousands of times, and Ling Taichu's blood dyed the sky. Uncle Taichu! Ling Wudi yelled in fear. He wanted to join the battle, but he did not even have the qualifications to do so. His divine body exploded from the impact. Roar! At this critical moment, Ling Taichu once again summoned the primordial era. He was going to fight to the death. The primordial era dragon had regained some of its strength, and it could barely hold Lei Zhanyang back. However, the opponent still had Oslo, who wielded the light scepter and attacked the Xianling continent. Stop! Ling Taichu had no time to spare. He let out an angry roar, and sent the golden dragon altar flying towards Oslo's attack. Kaboom! The terrifying collision of forces caused the light energy to brush past the corner of the Xianling continent, and in an instant, the land was destroyed. Countless living beings there had been reduced to dust by this one strike. Many living beings on the Xianling continent were also killed or injured by this terrifying force. One by one, they were sent back to hell, panicking. Is the Xianling continent destined to be destroyed? Xian Yao muttered to himself with a pale face. Fu Yi was already struggling to hold off the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. If not for the White Tiger Divine Beast interfering with the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's movements, the space between him and the continent would have been destroyed by the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. The White Tiger Divine Beast was not as strong as the Black Demon Tiger Emperor, and it was also covered in wounds. If it were any other divine beast, it would have been smashed into meat paste. The White Tiger Divine Beast was not inferior to the Black Demon Tiger Emperor, and it was covered in wounds. If it were any other divine beast, it would have been smashed into meat paste. Ling Taichu, you are stubbornly resisting. Today, you will disappear along with your ancestral land. Nefarious Jiang seemed to have found Ling Taichu's weakness, and he increased the power of his attack. Many terrifying shockwaves shot toward the Xianling continent. Ling Taichu could not defend himself even if he wanted to, not to mention that Oslo was also participating. Ah! The Xianling continent instantly turned into a living hell. No matter what realm the warriors and the spiritual beasts were at, they could not escape from the shockwaves. In just a blink of an eye, there were already countless casualties. Blood flowed like a river, and countless mountains and cities were destroyed. Many deep pits appeared in many places, and smoke filled the air. Xian Yao and the others had to retreat immediately, but they were still suffering from the shockwaves. Under the rainy Luster mountain range, the proud smiling palace was almost destroyed. Deep inside the mountain range, the evil emperor, Mad Monk, Sha Tian, Yun Mingqi, Feng Xianyan, and the others who had reached incipient god realm were fighting against the shockwaves, but they still vomited blood and fell to the ground. If the black tortoise hadn't transformed into its giant body to protect them, they would have been dead for sure. The vermilion bird divine beast, Wastrel, and dragon lady appeared at the same time, transforming into their true forms to resist the shockwaves. If it was during normal times, the appearance of these divine beasts in the rainy Luster mountain range would have shocked the world. But now, they were all scared out of their wits, and they were all looking for a place to hide. The eternal god of the Demon Tiger tribe, Thunder tribe, and Winged Man tribe is here. They want to destroy our Xianling continent. Let's risk our lives against them. The evil emperor shouted angrily. Mad Monk shook his head and said, "How can an ant fight an elephant? We should try our best to defend this place first. Perhaps there will be a turn for the better." All of Ling Zhao's family members were furious, but none of them dared to challenge the evil emperor. It was so frustrating. I want to take revenge for my son. Ling Zhan spun the spear in his hand and dashed toward outer space. These years he had had enough. His son's death was their fault, and he had to risk his life. I'll fight for my husband. Feng Xianyan let out a soft shout. Beams of dark green divine light bloomed, and a few king of venomous worms suddenly appeared around her. Each of them had reached level 11. And this was the power that Feng Xianyan had been hiding all this time. Yan Daijiao, Eurofei, Dongfangjing, and the others couldn't bear it anymore, and they dashed out. Yin Mingqi stood on the black tortoise and said, "Grandpa Black Tortoise, please help me kill the enemies." At this moment, the people around Ling Xiao couldn't suppress the hatred in their hearts anymore. They dashed up into the sky and attacked with all of their incipient God Realm power, which was insignificant in the eyes of the eternal God Realm. "You ants dare to come out? Go to hell." Jiang Xiewang grinned fiendishly. He pushed the wounded Ling Taichu to Oslo's side, and then he slapped at the Xianling continent. He wanted to destroy all of them, and the Xianling continent. Ling Taichu was restrained by Oslo, the primordious dragon couldn't resist, and Fu Yi couldn't be distracted. No one could stop this attack. Puff! Puff! Before Jiang Xiewang's attack reached them, they were blown away and vomited blood. Their bodies exploded, and they were on the verge of death. In the next moment, when the demonic palm fell on them, they would all die. Chapter 1732. Shao. Back then when your father obtained your divine technique, I was already incomparably satisfied. All these years, I've been bitterly cultivating and roaming the world. I've already experienced the thrill of being an expert. Even if I die now, I can die in peace. The long spear in Ling Zhan's hand broke apart as he muttered to himself with a satisfied smile on his face. Puff! His divine body exploded and blood splattered everywhere. Feng Xianyun also shouted, "Husband, you must be lonely on the road to hell. Yin'er is coming to keep you company." Her divine light was gone, and the dozens of Gu kings were all broken. Yin Mingqi commanded the black tortoise to resist with all its might. She wanted to save everyone, but the black tortoise screamed repeatedly. Its shell didn't explode, but its head was bleeding profusely. Yin Mingqi couldn't bear it and fell from the tortoise's back. "Husband, I will see you soon," Yin Mingqi said with a sad but beautiful smile. These people were all prepared to die, and the knot in their hearts was released at this moment. Blood splattered everywhere, and it was a beautiful and desolate scene. Just as the demonic palm was about to crush their heads and souls, a golden fist suddenly appeared above the Xianling continent. The golden fist was indestructible, and there was nothing it could not destroy. With the force of a thunderbolt, it collided with the demonic cloud black palm. Boom boom boom. The golden fist collided with the demonic palm, and the power exploded. The Xianling continent was almost destroyed, and many places were injured or killed. Fortunately, the Xianling continent was stabilized. "Who is it?" Jiang Xiewang was startled. Other than Ling Taichu, who else would be able to block his attack that could destroy the world? "It's time for you to stop. Isn't it enough to kill so many people?" An old voice sounded. He was like the guardian of the Xianling continent. Divine light gathered and completely stabilized the Xianling continent. Suddenly, a skinny figure broke out from the ground, and in a flash, he was above the 9 heavens. The skinny figure only had a layer of skin and a layer of bones. His whole body was unkempt, but there was a golden glow around him. He was like an immortal god, and his aura was rising. "Old man!" Ling Wudi was the first to shout in surprise. Ling Taichu also hurriedly retreated and shouted, "Uncle Yu, you broke through?" The person in front of them was undoubtedly Ling Hongyu, who had charged out from under the barrier. He had sacrificed his own power to protect the Xianling continent from destruction, but he had also paid a heavy price for it. His blood essence and power were almost depleted. Fortunately, at the most critical moment, Fu Yi Xianyao and the others set up the Origin Great Formation and activated all kinds of origin power to fill the gap of the bounded domain. Thus, he was able to replenish a huge amount of metal power at the first possible moment. Only then did he rush out to meet the enemy. "I don't care who you are. Today, one of us will perish." Jiang Xiewang shouted and slammed his palms down. He wanted to destroy the entire Xianling continent. Oslo didn't give Ling Taichu any chance to catch his breath. The scepter of light and the millions of feathers moved at the same time, intending to completely obliterate Ling Taichu's blood qi. Lei Zhanyang, on the other hand, started to slay the dragons. Countless lightning bolts struck, riddling the ancient dragon's body with holes. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor almost destroyed Fu Yi's Heavenly Cycle 8 trigrams formation, but it also paid a heavy price for it. Much of its flesh was destroyed by the formation chi. Old man, we're here to help you. Xianyao saw that Fu Yi was bleeding from his 7 orifices, and his aura was extremely weak. He couldn't help but shout and rush towards Fu Yi. Don't come over. I'll leave the white tiger to you from now on. Treat it well. Fu Yi said with difficulty. His eyes flashed with endless killing intent. He actually moved his body and rushed towards the Black Demon Tiger Emperor. 8 trigrams formation, 10 direction annihilation. Fu Yi used his most powerful killing move. All the patterns of the heavenly cycle 8 trigrams formation were activated. Countless patterns bound the Black Demon Tiger Emperor, and the 10 direction annihilation returned to his hand. It merged with him, and the sky was filled with killing attacks that went straight for the beast core on the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's forehead. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was also courageous. He used his most powerful body to attack, vowing to sink the entire land. Rumble. Endless power exploded like a beautiful firework, blooming for a moment, but then suddenly disappeared, and was obliterated. Old man, old ancestor. Xianyao screamed and rushed over. However, he was blown away by the rolling airwaves. His divine body exploded, and he was severely injured. The divine formation masters immediately came to restrain Xianyao. One of them said, Old ancestor has predicted this day. You don't need to be sad. From now on, you will be the patriarch of our witch tribe, the witch god. Xianyao was filled with endless sorrow. Tears streamed down his face, but he couldn't change this fact. Fu Yi and the land around him exploded. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was also on the verge of death. His body was a bloody mess. Just as Jiang Xiawang was about to summon him back, the White Tiger Emperor turned into a beam of light and bit the Black Demon Tiger Emperor's beast core, swallowing it. Damn it! I'll kill you! Jiang Xiawang roared in anger. The Black Demon Tiger Emperor was an existence that had surpassed level 11. He was the real king of beasts. However, a supreme incipient god realm expert who hadn't reached the eternal realm had dragged him to the grave. It was so hateful. Jiang Xiawang wanted to abandon the others and attack the White Tiger Divine Beast. However, Oslo shouted, Kill that old man first. He's accumulating energy. Don't let him reach the peak. Jiang Xiawang could only suppress his impulse. He slapped the Xianling continent's direction. All of you, go die with my Tiger Emperor. He exerted all his strength. Demonic palm after demonic palm slammed down from the sky, and black hole after black hole engulfed everything in all directions. Jiang Xiawang was completely crazy. He didn't care about the price to kill everything. Ling Hongyu's body was like a puppet made of bones, but in the face of these endless waves of attacks, he had an aura that seemed as though he would not panic even if Mount Tai collapsed. His sunken old eyes were like 2 bright golden lamps, emitting resplendent divine light. You don't have the qualifications to destroy my ancestral land. Ling Hongyu said faintly. The aura around him was like a huge gust of wind. His skinny arms attracted the most primitive power of gold in the Xianling continent and blasted it towards the sky. The Xianling continent was one of the ancient continents. Although it was in a state of decline, the deepest part of it still contained the most original core power. Ling Hongyu had stayed in the barrier for many years. He had found the core energy. It was a terrifying existence. Once the core energy was consumed, Xianling continent would be destroyed. However, it was different now. The origin great formation was completed. The 9 incipient godstones had started to crazily gather the origin energy. They didn't need to worry about the core energy anymore. Dragon transformation kill. Ling Hongshou punched upwards with both of his fists, and an incomparably terrifying golden dragon condensed, directly smashing Jiang Xiawang's power into pieces. Xianling continent was like a pure land. Ling Hongyu had isolated all the energy. Jiang Xiawang felt a force that wasn't any weaker than him rushing towards him. He was forced to retreat. His expression changed. This old man has become an eternal realm expert? No, he's definitely not an eternal realm expert. Otherwise, he would have returned to his youth. He has already taken one step forward. Damn it. I will kill every single one of you Kim people today. Jiang Xiawang rushed down. A giant black hole of demonic clouds shrouded Ling Hongyu. Ling Hongyu was in harmony with Xianling continent. He was like the guardian of Xianling continent. He raised his hand and another giant gold dragon roared, tearing the black hole of demonic clouds apart. Not only that, Ling Hongyu attacked again. Several giant dragons attacked Oslo and Lei Zhanyang. Taichu, take a breather first. Wait for me to hold them off. Ling Hongyu shouted with an unstoppable momentum. Ling Taichu and the ancient dragon took the chance to retreat after Ling Hongyu stopped them. They even brought Ling Wudi, Xian Yao, Yun Mingqi, and the others back to Xianling continent. Let's work together to take down this old man. He is only borrowing the power of this continent. If we work together, we can kill him 10 times. Jiang Xiewang shouted. Oslo and Lei Zhanyang didn't hold back. They turned into two different forces of space and rushed towards Ling Hongyu. A demonic cloud surged. A divine feather fluttered in the air. A colorful chaotic heavenly lightning. 3 kinds of destructive power intertwined. What in the world could stop them? Ling Hongyu sighed. It took me so many years to escape. I never thought I would have to face such a situation again. Let me protect this place to the best of my ability. Ling Hongyu's entire body shone brightly. His hands formed a shape and a golden star appeared above him. Its shape was exactly the same as the Xianling continent, just that it was pure gold. The golden star collided with the 3 spatial forces, and immediately began to explode. Puff! Ling Hongyu was severely injured. He spat out a mouthful of dark blood. He was fighting 1 against 3. Even with the help of the core force of Xianling continent, he was still powerless. After all, he was only a half step into the eternal realm. He had yet to recover to his peak. If he was given 100 years, he would be able to fight 1 against 3 with the help of Xianling continent's power. But now he was pushing himself too hard. Following the terrifying energy waves, the entire Xianling continent was shaken, as if the end of the world had arrived. Countless mountains tumbled and mountains crumbled. Many living beings died one after another. Even the 18 great forces that ruled over a region suffered heavy losses. This old monster can't hold on for much longer. Let's kill him again. Jiang Xiewang shouted and attacked with all his might. Ling Taichu couldn't bear it anymore. He stood in front of Ling Hongyu and burned his blood essence. He wanted to block the waves of attacks together. The ancient dragon roared again. But its dragon ball was dim. It could collapse at any time. Its blood was almost drained. There was nothing it could do. After dozens of waves of attacks, Ling Hongyu and Ling Taichu's divine body started to crumble. Blood essence splattered everywhere. Their auras were almost destroyed. The 3 eternal forces of space were about to destroy the Xianling continent and turn it into dust in the universe. At that critical moment, a dazzling divine light shot out from the depths of the universe at the speed of light. Chapter 1733. Damn it! Is the Xianling continent going to be destroyed? Give me back my family's life. Master, what do we do? Every place is trembling, and there are so many terrifying forces pressing down on us that we can't even breathe. Are we going to die? The end of the world is coming. The Xianling continent may be at its end. No matter where we go, we're going to die. Why don't we just wait for the disaster to come? I don't want to die. I haven't had a wife and children yet. I'm not willing to die. Every corner of the Xianling continent was filled with the cries of despair. No matter where they hid, the earthquakes never stopped, and the terrifying aura kept falling, causing the people around them to die one by one. They were filled with despair and unwillingness to accept their fate. In the depths of the Rain-Luster mountain range, none of Ling Zhao's family members showed any signs of fear. Instead, they were all calm and composed. Husband, we will meet again in the underworld soon. You must wait for us. Even in the underworld, we will still be husband and wife. Kai Sheyue said to herself with a sad but beautiful smile. Luo Meiying said with a smile, that's right. I've been to the gates of hell a long time ago. Now that I've returned to the bridge of helplessness, I'm satisfied to be able to die with my husband. Rumble. A wave of energy suddenly attacked their position. Young master, I miss you so much. "By you," she said, and then spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. The people around her were bleeding from all 7 orifices, and some even had their divine bodies exploded. All of them were either dead or heavily injured. Outside of the Xianling continent, Ling Hongyu and Ling Taichu could no longer hold on. Their energy had long been depleted, and they were barely holding on with their mental strength. "I'll kill you all. Even if I die, I'll drag you all down with me." Ling Taichu finally couldn't hold on any longer. He chose to self-destruct and die together with them. "You won't have the chance. Surrender to me and become my celestial race's slave," Oslo said coldly. The scepter of light emitted a dazzling divine light and forcefully imprisoned Ling Taichu. Then Oslo chanted an inexplicable incantation in an attempt to purify Ling Taichu. One after another, strange sacred symbols rushed towards Ling Taichu's sea of consciousness, causing Ling Taichu to suffer another kind of blow, causing his expression to turn blurry. Although Ling Hongyu's skinny body had borrowed the core energy of the Xianling continent, he was still suppressed by Jiang Xiawang and Lei Zhanyang to the point that he could not move. His body finally turned into a puddle of blood mist, and it was difficult for him to reform. The 3 destructive forces were about to completely destroy the Xianling continent. The 3 forces had yet to touch the Xianling continent, but they had already shaken the entire Xianling continent. Most of the living beings in the Earth realm had perished. This was a disaster, an apocalyptic massacre. "Whoever dares to destroy the Xianling continent, I will kill you all." A voice that hadn't been heard for a long time rang out. A figure that was emitting 9-colored divine light rushed out. A fist that contained 9 kinds of divine power, like a star suddenly appearing, bombarded the 3 spatial forces in a simple yet explosive manner. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 forces could not withstand the force of the blow, and in an instant, they all collapsed. The 3 figures retreated pathetically. A 9-colored divine light flashed and landed beside Ling Taichu and Ling Hongyu. "2 old ancestors, Xiao, has returned to help you kill the enemy." Ling Xiao, a legend of a generation that had fallen, had finally come back to life with the help of the undying heart that the Tree of Immortality had left for him. He had also completely understood the true meaning of the eternal God. And in just 50 to 60 years, he had successfully reached the true eternal realm. Ling Hongyu could not reform his physical body, but when he saw Ling Zhao's shocking return and the satisfied smile on his face, his divine soul was about to be destroyed with the wind. Ling Taichu, on the other hand, was holding on with his injuries. Xiao, are you have reached the eternal realm? That's great. We can die in peace." Ling Xiao looked at the 2 old ancestors who were almost dead, and his anger began to burn. The golden light and green light in his hands shone brightly, and they shrouded the 2 old ancestors. 2 old ancestors, with me here, none of you will die." Ling Xiao used 2 types of energy to infuse them, and he forced a lot of blood essence to fall on their bodies. Suddenly, a majestic energy caused Ling Hongyu and Ling Taichu's life force to be reignited. Ling Zhao's spirit was actually 9-colored, and his body had undergone an unbelievable change. "Damn it, it's that little bastard, he's actually not dead," Jiang Xiawang shouted when he saw Ling Xiao. Previously, the Black Demon Tiger King had clearly killed Ling Xiao, but now he had reappeared, which was unbelievable to him. He has already reached that stage. One clan has 3 eternal gods, and today, we must kill them all, or the universe will belong to them. Lei Zhanyang said with a solemn expression. Oslo also said fiercely, kill them all." They had no other choice. If they did not kill these people today, they would be wiped out in the future. The 3 eternal gods once again turned into a space, and 3 different types of spatial energy rushed towards Ling Xiao. "Xiao, you go and wipe out their 9 clans in the future." Ling Taichu was worried that Ling Xiao would not be able to defeat them, and he shouted. Ling Hongyu wanted to say something, but he could not. Instead, he focused on refining the energy that Ling Xiao had transferred to him, hoping to recover his combat power as soon as possible. "Don't worry, they're just a bunch of clowns. I'll kill them like dogs today." Ling Xiao spoke with a domineering aura that looked down on the world. His 9-colored divine light flashed, and a 9-colored space expanded, instantly blocking the Xianling continent behind it. At the same time, It faced the 3 different types of spatial energy. Boom boom boom. The 3 destructive spatial energies attacked wildly, but when they fell into the 9-colored space, they were completely melted and could not do anything. At the same time, 9 dragons rushed out of the 9-colored space, forming groups of 3, and rushed towards the 3 of them. What kind of spatial energy is this? It can actually block all of our attacks? Jiang Shiwang shouted in panic. Lei Zhanyang and Oslo were equally shocked, but they did not have time to think, and they all rushed towards the dragons. Ling Xiao only glanced at the battle over there. His real body didn't join in. His eyes were filled with disdain. After a while, Ling Hongyu finally reformed his body and said, "Xiaoer, hold on for a while, and I will go with you to destroy them." Ling Taichu also said, "Xiaoer, hold on for a while, and I will go with you to destroy them." "Ancestors, rest in peace, I will take care of them." Ling Xiao said, stopped his blood essence, and took a step forward. As he moved, the 9-colored space immediately converged towards him, and only the 9 dragons were still entangled with the 3 eternal gods. "You bullied my people, destroyed my ancestral land. Today, none of you can leave," Ling Xiao shouted, his voice full of killing intent. His voice reverberated across the world. Even the people of the Xianling continent heard it. That's my husband's voice. He really came back?" Yin Mengqi, who was heavily injured on the back of the black tortoise, said in disbelief. "It's really my husband. He must have come back. I knew he was not dead." Feng Xianyan, who was on the verge of death, cried out in joy. I heard his voice. He came back to save us." Meng Xiyan hugged Ling Zhan's broken body and cried. "Boss is back, that's great, those bastards' doomsday is here." Yi Yinfeng laughed madly. "I knew that the palace lord was born with an undying cockroach. He wouldn't die so easily." Xian Yao smiled. Ling Zhao's family members who were still alive were all extremely excited. In the outer realm, Jiang Xiawang struggled to disperse the 3 dragons' cheese and shouted at Ling Xiao, "Brat, even if you come back to life, I will make you die again today." Jiang Xiawang angrily struck out a demonic palm, wanting to destroy Ling Xiao in one strike. "Do you think you're qualified?" Ling Xiao said faintly, and also sent out a palm strike. This palm flashed with 9-colored divine light. As if 9 different dimensions appeared at the same time, the power was incomparably terrifying, 9 times more terrifying than Jiang Xiawang's palm. Jiang Xiawang's palm was destroyed, but Ling Zhao's 9-colored divine palm did not lose any of its power, continuing to strike at Jiang Xiawang. Impossible. Jiang Xiawang was scared out of his wits. He quickly retreated. "You can't escape," Ling Xiao said. The 9-colored divine palm's speed became even faster. In the blink of an eye, it grabbed Jiang Xiawang angrily. "You two help me kill him." Jiang Xiawang used all his strength to destroy this palm, but it was all in vain. He was like an ant, grabbed by Ling Xiao with one hand and pulled back. Lei Zhanyang and Oslo each used their full strength, wanting to kill Ling Xiao. The 2 different spatial powers exploded to the extreme. Ling Zhao's other hand struck out, smashing the 2 dimensions into dust. The 2 were heavily injured and vomiting blood. "Devil Tiger Clan, the culprit of all this is you. Die." Ling Xiao coldly looked at Jiang Xiawang. The power in his palm increased, crushing Jiang Xiawang's bones, blood splattering everywhere. "Oh, don't kill me. I am willing to submit." Jiang Xiawang struggled with all his strength, but it was all in vain. He could only beg for mercy. "Too late," Ling Xiao said as he condensed the power of his 9-colored divine palm. Bang! Jiang Xiawang was immediately crushed to pieces. Drops of divine blood floated down. At the same time, the divine blood turned into mini Jiang Xiawang, fleeing in all directions. The eternal god could be reborn from a drop of blood. Jiang Xiawang was not completely destroyed. However, Ling Xiao did not give him the chance. His palm sucked. A powerful sealing power suppressed all of Jiang Xiawang's avatars. The surging fire immediately burned them. Jiang Xiawang was burned to the point that he was better off dead than alive. He screamed and begged for mercy. Chapter 1734. First, you destroyed my Dragon Gate, killed millions of Dragon Gate people, and almost destroyed my clan's bloodline. How dare you beg for mercy? I will use the endless flame to burn every drop of your blood. Let's see if you, the eternal god, can be reborn. Ling Xiao stared at Jiang Xiaowang and said with extreme hatred. Ling Xiao's flame had already surpassed the scope of ordinary heavenly fire. It had reached the limit of a type of fire. Jiang Xiaowang was burned alive by this flame. Lei Zhanyang and Oslo were scared out of their wits. They immediately fled at full speed without thinking. I said you can't escape. Ling Xiao said faintly. He actually split into two. Two of him chased in two different directions at the same time. Two balls of 9-colored spatial energy devoured the chaotic heavenly lightning dimension and the light dimension. Lei Zhanyang attacked with all his might. Many lightning bolts were like a rain of spears, rushing towards Ling Xiao's power. Chaotic heavenly lightning, I know it too. Ling Xiao laughed coldly. He also used the power of chaotic heavenly lightning to attack Lei Zhanyang. Ling Xiao's power was 9 times that of Lei Zhanyang's. The destructive power of chaotic heavenly lightning was more majestic and terrifying than Lei Zhanyang's power. Lei Zhanyang's divine body was charred and exploded by the chaotic heavenly lightning that he was proficient in. Let's talk this out. I, Lei Zhanyang, am willing to surrender. Lei Zhanyang was really afraid and begged for mercy. I don't need a follower like you, Ling Xiao said mercilessly. He turned into a bolt of lightning and landed in front of Lei Zhanyang. He mercilessly punched Lei Zhanyang's head, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Bang! Bang! Ling Xiao was discouraged. Every punch he threw had destroyed Lei Zhanyang's body. It was impossible for him to reassemble. On the other side, Oslo was much stronger. With the help of the light scepter, he blocked Ling Xiao's 9-colored spatial energy. In addition, his pair of white wings fluttered, making him as fast as a shooting star. He tore open space and fled at full speed. Birdman, I've King tolerated you for a long time. Your clansmen killed my great-grandfather. Today, I'll pluck off all your feathers and level the radiant space in the future. Ling Xiao's speed had already reached an extreme, surpassing all common sense. In an instant he had caught up to Oslo. Using his hand as a sword he slashed at the wings. Oslo swung his scepter of light, and countless rays of holy light shone towards Ling Xiao. Eternal moment. This beam of light could instantly kill someone, causing them to fall into the eternal cycle of reincarnation. It was impossible for them to be reborn. Ling Xiao's body was shrouded in 9-colored divine light, and he was still fearless. He forcefully slashed out 888 times, and each sword contained the power of light. They cut through the vast sky and tore apart the light of Oslo's scepter. Blood and flesh splattered all over Oslo's body, and he cried out in shock. How can you have so many attributes? The 9-colored divine light simply surpassed the primordial divine light of the 5 elements, and it contained a terrifying primordial power. I'm truly eternal, and you guys are just fake eternal. You guys don't understand the true meaning of eternity. Ling Xiao explained and did not waste any more words with Oslo. The power of light gathered on his fist, and he struck out one white dragon after another. This power caused the sky to tremble, and countless spaces were pierced through. Layer after layer of cracks were completely obliterated. Oslo was able to block it first, but Ling Xiao's punches became faster and faster, and the power of his punches grew stronger. The webbing between his thumb and forefinger cracked, and the scepter of light flew out of his hand. Without this divine weapon, what other tricks do you have? Birdman, it's time for you to die. Ling Xiao cursed. He closed in on Oslo, grabbed Oslo's wings, and tore them apart. Arg! Oslo's wings, which were like divine weapons of eternity, were actually broken by Ling Xiao. Oslo's other wing flapped, and countless feathers attacked Ling Xiao, wanting to cut Ling Xiao into 1,000 pieces. However, Ling Xiao only freed one hand and punched out thousands of times, directly shattering all the feathers. Not only that, Ling Xiao suddenly roared. Roar! He was like an ancient dragon that had come into being, and the terrifying dragon roar directly shattered Oslo's divine body into pieces. You killed my primal chaos thunder dragon, and this is payback for it. Ling Xiao shouted and attacked again, imprisoning all of Oslo's limbs and blood essence. He would not give him the slightest chance to escape. Oslo quickly regenerated, and his hands formed a seal to unleash boundless power. However, he was just struggling on his deathbed. Ling Zhao's punches were boundless, and his strength was more than 9 times stronger than Oslo's. He directly smashed Oslo into pieces again. Lei Zhanyang and Oslo were completely ground into pieces under Ling Zhao's boundless power. Even their spatial powers were melted by Ling Zhao's 9-colored space. Including Jiang Xiawang, the 3 eternal gods had become the dust of history. Ling Xiao merged into one, and his black hair and divine robes fluttered in the wind. His majestic appearance was like the reappearance of the overlord of the heavens. It was hard to describe how extraordinary he was at this moment. Ling Hongyu and Ling Taichu looked at the mighty Ling Xiao in shock. They were all extraordinary heroes, but when faced with the encirclement of 3 eternal gods, their hearts were strong, but they were powerless. But Ling Xiao had killed them with a wave of his hand. How terrifying and invincible was his combat ability. 2 ancestors, it's time to put an end to this. Ling Xiao returned to the 2 and said indifferently, "It's over, but the living beings on Xianling continent are almost destroyed. Even the origin formation that was just set up has been destroyed." Ling Hongyu sighed. He had thought that Xianling continent could once again shine in glory, but it was all destroyed by this battle. Ling Taichu comforted him. "Uncle, we have tried our best. Don't force it too much. Perhaps all of this can still be changed." Ling Xiao said hesitantly. At this time Ling Wudi, Xian Yao, Evil Monarch, Mad Monk and the others appeared one by one. "Xiao, it's good that you are back. I knew that my disciple was not someone that could be killed by just anyone." Evil Monarch's face was extremely pale, and it was obvious that he was heavily injured. But when he saw Ling Xiao, he still smiled happily. "Your disciple greets Master." Ling Xiao stepped forward and greeted Evil Monarch. "You are only greeting Master, but not your father-in-law?" Mad Monk teased. Ling Xiao, of course, had to return the greeting respectfully. Then he looked at Xian Yao and said, "Fraud, it's good that you are still alive. Otherwise, I will drag you back to hell. It's so boring without your tricks." Even though Ling Xiao had become the real eternal god, his character did not change. Xian Yao forced a smile and said, "I knew that you have a strong destiny of immortality. Others thought that you are dead, but I think that you are still alive." He paused for a while and said, "Let's go back and check on your sisters-in-law. They are not in good condition." As soon as he said this, Ling Zhao's expression changed. The next moment, he had already landed in the sky above the Yuza Mountains. He scanned the area with his vast divine sense, and immediately found many tragic scenes down below. A few of his women were dead, and so was his father. Almost all of his followers and the proud smiling palace were dead. Everywhere in the Xianling continent, blood flowed like a river. Ling Zhao's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife or pierced by a sword, and the pain was unbearable. "Husband, is it really you?" Yin Mengqi cried with tears in her eyes. Ling Xiao instantly appeared in front of her, and a surge of life energy entered Yin Mengqi's body, allowing her to recover immediately. "Mengqi, it's me. You heal your injuries first, I will take a look at them," Ling Xiao said and immediately walked towards the other women. Feng Xianyan, Yin Daijiao, Dongfang Jing. In order to protect the younger generation, they almost died. "Xiao, my Xiao." Meng Xian let out a sorrowful cry. Ling Xiao came to his mother's side. Looking at the lifeless Ling Zhan, he was on the verge of fainting. Did I come back too late? No. It can't be like this. I can definitely defy the heavens and change my fate. Father Yin or Daijiao, none of you will die." Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with tears as he roared towards the sky. Ling Xiao soared into the sky, and a 9-colored divine light emerged from his back. All kinds of different energies flashed non-stop. "Water and wood life force, come to me." Ling Xiao was like a deity, summoning 2 different types of life energy, one blue and one green. 2 types of life energy instantly filled the 9 heavens. "Everything, revive for me," Ling Xiao exclaimed softly. He spread his hands, and the blue and green light flowed towards every corner of the Xianling continent. In an instant, the injured humans, spiritual beasts, and other living beings were nourished by the water and wood energy, and their injuries recovered rapidly. All of this was inconceivable. Then Ling Zhao's energy changed again, one light and one dark, forming a yin and yang qi. Time reversal. All of Ling Xiao's energy was unleashed. The light and dark energy surged, and the yin and yang qi formed a time tunnel. The heavens and earth were bright and dark, and time was flowing in reverse. Everything in the Xianling continent was restored, and all the dead living beings were awakened. This was a kind of divine power that could steal the fortune of heaven and earth, and create the world. Ling Hongyu, Ling Taichu, Ling Wudi, Xianyao. Everyone who was conscious felt all of this, and they were all in disbelief. It was hard to imagine that this was done by one person. Perhaps this was the true legend of the eternal gods. Time reversed, and everything returned to a day or two ago. Those who should not have died were all alive, and those who should have died were all alive, except for the three eternal gods. After the calamity, the Xianling continent finally regained its peace, and life force was restored, and it would never be destroyed. Ling Xiao, his wife, and his parents were all reunited, and Xianyao also saw his old man again. Everything was so perfect. 1 year later, everything related to the Demon Tiger tribe, Thunder tribe, and Wing tribe was almost wiped out, and the Kim people dominated both inside and outside the Yuza Mountains, and they became the undisputed overlords. In the Yuza Mountains, Ling Xiao and his wife and children gathered together. It has been hard on you all these years. Today, I have decided to bring you all to the sun, and catch a few golden crows for you all to ride on. Ling Xiao said with a warm smile, and then he said to the prodigal and the vermilion bird, "Let's go, I want to see if the little birds on the sun are really that powerful." After that, he moved his aura, and everyone rushed toward the sun. Many years later, three-legged golden crows appeared in the Yuza Mountains from time to time, but on their backs were young men and women who were full of vitality. These young men and women all had the surname Ling, and they all came from the same ancestor. They enjoyed a carefree life that others could not compare to, and they were really envious of others. At the highest peak of the mountains, a handsome figure stood facing the sun and murmured, "In the depths of the Domain Road, there is a chaos divine cave. Could it be Brother Wu? I hope you can come back one day. The battle between us is not over yet." After a pause, he said, "There is a sky beyond the sky, and there is a domain beyond the domain. Eternity is endless, and I may not be invincible." End of the book. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.